Welcome to Champagne Football Lemonade Banter. This season is brought to you by the Lightweight Athletic Club.
Whatever you're watching us on, please don't forget to like and subscribe.
What are we talking about there?
That's brilliant, man.
Right, okay, we'll get stuck in. Obviously here with two big dogs today, Georgievski and Zeljko Kalac. Thanks for coming, lads.
No problem.
Obviously, long drive for you, mate.
Oh, cheers, man. Just kill me a little bit more.
Stressed out your box.
It's Sydney for you, isn't it?
So how long did it take you to get? An hour?
Oh, just an hour.
Just an hour, aye?
Yeah, with tolls.
Just invoice them.
Send invoice.
No, so the coffee, I asked for an extra strong.
That's it.
shot as well, so that's why.
So before we get stuck in, we'll do Deploy, sponsor the podcast. They've got a couple of footballs. Chaz, just want to grab the one behind you. So Deploy came on board a couple of weeks ago. They're obviously now doing senior men's football. They've got a lot of youth space footballs. Chaz is a goalkeeper as well. So
can you catch though? Just one hand. I'm sitting here struggling with two.
So thanks to Deploy for sponsoring the podcast, and we'll get stuck into the scores for NPL 1 because we've got big careers to get through. So NPL 1, Chaz, we'll start with the Marconi Appia game because Zeljko, you were at the game as well. Son plays for Appia as well. Big result for Marconi, still undefeated.
Massive.
7 goals, 21-4, pretty much flawless. A couple of draws in there. What do you think of the game, Zeljko?
I thought Marconi were excellent, to be honest with you. First half, I thought they were really aggressive. You can see why they're top of the table, and you can see why they haven't lost the game yet because they don't concede goals.
Yeah.
I thought they were very good. To be fair, I thought Appia were poor.
Aye, I thought so as well.
For a team of that quality to perform like that in a match like that. It was a little bit disappointing, but I still think Appia has a very good side. I still think they can turn it around. They've got to sort a little bit defensively, the leakiness at the back, but they've got potency up front. I think they'll come good, but Marconi definitely the team to beat.
The first 15 minutes, I thought Appia looked sharp.
Yeah,
looked tidy.
15.
One touch and they hit the bar. I think it was Casper's.
Casper's a good striker.
He hit the bar, didn't he?
Yeah.
I thought at that point, Appia looking good here, and then Marconi got the goal 4 minutes later, and then from there it just fizzled out.
I just think Marconi dominated in midfield. Once a game like those type of games, it takes time to settle down. And Marconi could have scored after 3 minutes.
Aye.
And then Appia had a great opportunity to hit the crossbar. But then I think Marconi just got aggressively stronger. They dominated in midfield. Appia didn't keep much possession of the ball.
They were poor.
They kept on turning the ball over, and it just suited Marconi to a T.
Yeah, 100%.
You could see what Marconi had set out to do: win the ball in behind,
go
and hit
forward
him on
quickly.
the counter attack.
That's like you look at the first goal when Jesic is in behind and he's got 10 minutes to cross the ball. Like literally, there's no defenders in sight. It's a good run to be fair from Jake True. A good, decent finish.
Was the second one an own goal?
Yeah.
Aye.
But I think it was the first time that
He's a good player. Aye.
the first time that Jake True started as a 9 for Marconi, which is quite interesting.
He's been playing it wide.
He'd been playing on the left. He scored one.
Did he not play it wide, did he?
No, it's a 9.
He plays a 9, did he?
Yeah.
Aye, well, look, good result for Marconi. Still top of the league. Appia are now 5th, conceding another 2 goals, averaging 2 goals a game, which is not ideal. What's obviously your boys in goals? See when you watch his game, do you watch all his games or as many as you can?
I go out and watch all the games, and I will be honest, I go to a lot of Appia games full of like confidence, and then when I leave, I get a little bit upset because they really do have a good side.
Brilliant.
They drew 2 games where they were winning 3-1. They were actually in first gear, and I mean, you put those, they ended up drawing 3-3. They copped 2 goals in the last 5 minutes.
Aye.
You put those 4 points onto where they are. Like, that shows they're a good side. They've got good individual players. I still think they'll come good. I still think they just need to tidy up that defence. I got an idea what I would do, but I'm not the coach, so I'll leave that to Franco.
Knock on the door, huh? Just while, yeah.
I'll let Franco come up with that, but I still think they're very strong. I think Rockdale's very strong. I still think Sydney United's got a team that can actually beat all of them.
You're biased, mate. You're biased, man.
But they're fully stacked, Sydney United.
No, they are fully stacked. We speak about it every week. Talking about Appia just quickly, do you, after your son's games, do you give him feedback on his performance or just let it slide?
I look at his personal performance, right? He's actually doing well. He's actually making a lot of really good saves, which is actually good for a young goalkeeper.
100%.
Like at the end of the day, if he only has to make 1 save,
You're not
like
learning.
this, he's actually developing as a keeper. He's making saves. He's participating in the game, which is fantastic for his development. And that's all you can ask for. And he's at a team that can really challenge to win it.
Yeah, 100%. Well, look at Rockdale. Rockdale won 3-1.
3-1, yeah.
Another a comfortable victory. It could have been 5 or 6.
Yeah, it looked really comfortable. Euro scored another 2 goals. That's 16 goals Euro scored in first 12 games.
12 games.
Great return.
And then Ali Ogla scored a cracker.
Yeah, great touch. Love the keeper.
Finish. Not too much to say about that game. All in Central Coast. The game was supposed to be at Central Coast, wasn't it?
It was, but because of the
Switched.
rain, they became Rockdale's home game. So it played at Ellen.
Whatever happened there, it fucked up the score line. So usually Sofa Score or Football 24 gives you results.
Yeah.
So Sofa Score was showing 3-1 Central Coast.
Right.
Rockdale was showing 3-1 Rockdale. And then on NPL New South Wales and it says 1-0 Central Coast. I'm like, what the fuck's the score? Trying to cash out my bet on that.
That's funny.
And who else was a big game at the weekend, Chaz?
Olympic Manly.
5-2. Olympic
5-2.
pure score that, 5-2.
I didn't see that one coming, but yeah, Olympics another team that's got a cracking squad, huh?
Was your wallet, fella?
Are you alright there?
That was your wallet, Daniel,
No, it's
wasn't it?
my wallet's empty. Where I just came from, it's bone dry.
Olympic deducted 3 points. Did you see that?
Yeah, I heard
And Wanderers,
that.
aye.
Yep, I heard that.
That'll
But
help
they've got a really deep squad as well, so I expect them to bounce back. But I didn't see that result coming
Nah,
because
no
I
way.
watched Arpia play Manly last week, and I thought Manly were woeful. Like Arpia played in first gear and won the game easy. And then for Manly to bounce back away from home with a result like that, but they scored like 3 bombs.
Yeah, I know.
good
goals. They scored-
Fantastic with a crack.
You know, goals do change games. and
100%.
They're just moments, aren't they?
Yeah, and then it was 3-2 going into the 84th minute or something. So you obviously Olympic now start chasing the game. And I think on the balance of the highlights, it didn't look like it was a 5-2 game. It looked like it was a lot closer, but they're obviously trying to chase the game towards the end, and Manly have sneaked another 2 goals.
But I think Manly have scored in 4 games 5 goals,
5 goals.
and in 4 games they've conceded 5 goals.
Ugh.
So they're a fucking wild team. You just don't know what you're going to get from
Well,
them.
still trying to
it's
figure it out.
entertaining. Isn't it?
On our end would be entertaining,
Yeah.
but Jesus Christ.
As a coach, you'd be pulling your hair
Yeah,
out.
100%. But I think that's the beauty of like the NPL 1 and 2 this year, is that we spoke off air. You don't really know what the results are going to be. Do you
It's
know,
like the A-League, isn't it?
that's true.
Aye.
To be fair, I think
similar
that's
to
football in Australia in general. You just don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, it's really tight.
Entertaining.
Man.
I'll tell you
But
that.
annoying if you're a die-hard fan. For
Yeah.
a club, you're like, guys, honestly,
Yeah,
sort
just
yourselves out.
please help. Nah, you're right, man. Blacktown and Sydney United. Sydney United 2-0 up. Good goals, to be fair.
Aye, cracking goals.
I think Leroy Jennings looks like he's
Slowly
Yeah,
getting
he was
back.
injured.
He was injured.
Yeah, he done his ACL last year,
But
so he missed
great
all of
player.
last year.
quick, very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he looks like his contribution to the first goal was
Paddy
brilliant.
scored
And
again.
Tell me scored again. But you were saying off set pieces.
Set pieces are killing them. 3 set pieces against Blacktown. Obviously lost the game. Set piece against Marconi. Lost the game. Set piece against Rockdale. Lost the game. Set piece against Spirit. Drew the game.
Yeah.
So points dropped off the corners pretty
Yeah.
much, which is or set free kicks. So
Yeah.
not ideal. But look, as Zeljko just said, they're stacked.
Yeah, they
They're
are.
going to come back, and Shabau's still not really playing.
Yeah.
So I think they'll be fine. But with everyone else dropping points outside of Marconi, they only need a couple of wins to put together, and they're back in the
Yeah,
hunt
yeah.
again.
Yeah, once you
back in
put 2 or 3 wins in a row in this league, you jump up the table
Aye,
quickly.
pretty quickly, aye. And then who else we got?
St George FA beat Western Sydney Wanderers 1-0.
On goal.
Yeah.
Did you see that in the highlights? On goal, no? Keeper kicks it. Keeper kicks it.
The kick. Jack Kenny kicks the ball from a goal kick.
He can kick a
Oh
ball.
my
by the
God,
way.
man!
It
It
bounces
literally
on
bounced on the
18
18-yard box.
Jeez.
Yeah, I was literally. I wrote here Ederson-esque. Like
Aye.
it was huge, and it's literally bounced. Keepers came out. Don't know what the communication is. Defenders went to head it back and headed it into an empty goal. Man,
Yeah.
the only goal of the game.
Any goal that gets you 3 points counts.
Oh, that's it.
But he can kick a ball, by the way.
I know everyone says that.
Bizarre.
Penshurst is small as well, though.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit better.
Then Lachlan Tilt gets sent off for Western Sydney Wanderers in stoppage time as well, which doesn't help. Wolves beat Mount Druitt 2-1. Mount Druitt opened the score in the first half. G crossed the ball in. John Hazard, decent finish. It was 1-0 at half time, and then going into the second half, gave away a stupid penalty. Did you see it's just basically the ball's in the air, so went to bounce, and the defenders went to clear the ball, and the strikers just nipped in front. Brought
Lucky
him down.
Scott scored the penalty.
Lucky Scott scored the penalty, and then who scored the second one? Marcus Beattie.
Oh, a good finish.
Yeah, very good finish, did
Near
well.
post. Aye.
Mount Druitt, man, they're so close.
Can I
every
get a
week.
win, mate? They're
Yeah.
8 points.
Like,
Only
listen.
twice.
I'll tell you a funny story. So I was sitting down having a coffee. and one of the staff from Mount Druitt actually said before the season started, "Oh, we're top four," and I said to him, "Mate, make sure you're not top 4 from the bottom, mate." I said, "Big jump, NPL 1 to the Premier League, mate. Big jump."
Yeah.
They're struggling. Apia touched them up the other week, and actually just toyed with them. They were woeful. And then they lost in the FFA Cup to a pub team. Just shows, don't get carried away. Don't get carried away.
That's a big jump. I think even we were talking about off air, from NPL 1 to A-League, the difference, going for NPL 2, and just that extra training night as well, does make a difference. Like, the players are all much fitter. They're much more, they've got more, probably better team spirit. They're together more often. They're on the same page. Twice a week's hard, because one session's not going to be that hard. It's too close to game day. So it does make a big difference.
I think they're going to be fighting to stay alive. I think they're lucky that the academy teams are poor.
And then Wanderers have been deducted 3 points as well. So look at Central Coast, 5 losses. Struggle streak.
They're going with probably too young.
Aye.
Like, you can't compete in NPL 1 with 17, 18
young boys.
You actually can't compete. You need to have players that are 20, 21 years
old
amongst them, who can actually compete. 17, 18 year olds.
I reckon because they're bringing him up to the A-League, those 17, 18-year-olds. And they're like, you know what, let's just train them down here or make them play, become a man a little bit, and then we'll bump.
I think that's the idea. The issue I think, Daniel, is maybe, we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago in here, that I think they'd probably get more from it in NPL 2, because at least they're competing. Some are getting smashed sometimes.
Yeah, they're not going to learn anything from
that's what I mean,
belted. It's not.
My
really.
problem is the blind leading the blinder. Like, I mean, you got.
It only took 10 minutes. I was waiting about 10 minutes ago for this.
You got 17, 18-year-olds who actually haven't got a clue what real football really looks like, and they're all playing together. So they don't have any senior players in there, guiding them. So it's like the blind leading the blind. It's crazy, and you see their performances. I'm not saying they don't try. Like, I mean, Sydney FC's had it right for a long time. Like, Sydney FC woke up to the NPL 1 a long time ago. They go, we can't compete with 17, 18-year-olds. So then they started playing players 20, 21. Some of the scholarship players would drop down, so they would get enough points and they would compete. Where I remember Wanderers last year, had they played that team for the full year in the NPL 1, they win it.
Definitely.
But they had 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds, training professionally. They were quality. Then as soon as those players went on break, mate, they just
finished 13th or something, didn't they?
Capitulated because
you need that. You need a bit of experience to kind of, as you say, to guide the young
even
players.
the changing room, just to keep everyone
accountable.
I mean?
100%.
They go very young, but then you have to, like what Zeljko said, you always have to have an experience. So we're not saying a 30-year-old, but we're saying 21, 22. They've still got that ambition, but has been in the system for another 2 years and playing against men, not against kids.
100%.
At their age, actually. So how many 17-year-olds can you fill a team to play against men? It's not that many, to be brutally honest. So you need to kind of find that, what is up to 21 they can play, or
the scholarship players can drop down, so they could be 22, 23, they can still play. And if you play 3 or 4 of those each week with the young players, they'll be fine, and that's what Sydney FC do.
Yeah, but even at training, like when you have an older player at training, mate, you lift the intensity.
100%.
And it's literally all intensity. Yeah, they can train as much as they want, but if you're just training against 17-year-olds, and you go on the weekend and you're playing against a 25-year-old that's, a man, doesn't matter how much, you need that at training.
100%.
They just get bullied. They get bullied. Like, I mean, if you see a lot of the academy team games, like, they play.
Of course, good football.
Some of them,
every set piece is a goal.
Yeah.
Every ball into the box is a goal. Because they can't defend, they can't head, they're physically not strong enough. So, I mean, the NPL clubs, they're not stupid. All right, play long up to big Lockie Scott, for example, in Wollongong. Mate, you're not winning the ball off him. And, second ball falls, get to the second ball, show a bit of aggression. The kids,
they're gone. They don't want
crowd to keep on the corners.
Like we know that back in the day was once you go in once, you smack them, and then they're going to pull back. And that's literally hasn't changed in 20 years. Probably 40 years. But it hasn't changed because it's like give them a hit at the start of the game and see how they react. If they react well, then you got a game in your hands. But majority of them will be like,
don't want this.
Pass the ball quick up, don't take you on.
I don't want to go jump in, and everyone jumps in to win the ball because I call them more YouTubers and TikTokers. They all want to win it miraculously, like they've seen it for 2 seconds. They go and win it. All right, I'm going to skin him 5-6 times until someone says, "Hey, son, stay on your feet."
Yeah.
And that's where that teaching has to be put into place, where you're not playing against 17-year-olds. You're playing against men that can skin you. They're good.
Yeah, 100%.
And you have to respect that. But that there just shows that only one academy's got it right. At the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah. Sydney's had it right for a while, to be
Yeah.
fair.
Oh, the weekend they put in, they had Kyle Shaw started.
Yeah.
Obviously he's come up, and then
McAllister played
as well, and then
Yeah.
was France, is that his name or something like that?
Maris France, yeah.
Maris France, he got in the team of the week as well. He played, so they got
Yeah.
They're only going to get stronger, Sydney FC, because if they don't make the finals,
Aye, true.
let's say this weekend,
But then they've got to go.
They can
Their
go-
players
break.
go on holiday.
some will, some will stay. So even 1 or 2 players in that team to stick around.
Yeah, it makes a huge
massively.
difference.
Wanderers will be like, no, I'm not going to bother. Mariners
Well,
potentially.
Mariners don't really have many players to drop back. Like their squad this year is really young, really young, and they've won one game. You wouldn't believe it. It was against Sydney United too.
So why's that he battered them?
Yeah,
Was it 3
pace.
Aye.
Yeah.
pace, right? But look, it's interesting. You know, like I mean, Sutherland's been. They started off really good, and
they've been
they've
poor.
capitulated.
Yeah.
Mount Druitt's going to be in for a torrid all year. Central Coast is going to be in for a torrid all year. Wanderers should have more than that. Like I don't understand why.
Well, my theory on Wanderers, we played Wanderers at the start of the season, and they scored early, and I said, first 25 minutes, Wanderers come out the traps flying, sharp, aggressive, high press. They leave a lot of space in behind. So if you can ride that first 20 minutes, they don't concede, then you can usually go and win comfortably. But if they score in that first 20, it becomes a right good game.
Yeah.
They scored against us 1-0, and it ended up being, we scored right on half time. In the second half, we comfortably won the game out. But any other game I've watched, like Rockdale, they were 2-0 up after 25 minutes, finished 8-1.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can ride that or score early, there's too much space. They can't get back into the game.
Yeah.
But that first 20 minutes, if they can score, they give a team a good chance. But I think they're decent. We've played the 2 of them, Wanderers and Sydney FC. I thought Wanderers was the better out of the 2 in terms of overall hardest to beat. But since then they've been crap, pretty much. They've lost 8. I mean, 8-1 against Rockdale was
It's a doing,
shambolic, man.
Aye.
Shambolic, man.
Your game, Spirit, St George.
Aye, good game, mate. Good game of football. 2-2. Probably a fair result on the balance of things.
Yeah.
St George Saints, we speak about keeping possession well, which they did. They kept the ball well. Surprising though, we looked at the stats. Y-Scout gives you the stats on the game's post-match. And on the eye, I thought, they kept the ball well. We had the better chances. But we actually had something like 61% possession second half. And I think first half was 50-50, which was surprising. But they're good, mate. They've got B. Antonio, Jay Casella, Poon.
Poon, he looks rapid.
Poon is rapid, mate, aye. And then they've got Sunday Ona, who was at, I think, MacArthur last year. Just pace, mate. So they keep the ball all right. Not too threatening when they keep the ball, but on the counter.
Yep.
In transition.
Dangerous.
And just pace, mate. It's pace.
Yeah.
Pace is up a weapon. Look, it was a fair result. We scored late on. But I think on the balance, I think 2-2 was a pretty fair result.
Yeah, fair. And the last game, Sydney FC beat Sutherland 2-0. Good result for Sydney FC.
Sutherland struggled.
Yeah, struggled.
Yeah,
man.
I watched that game.
Oh, did you? Eh?
I went and watched that game. Sydney were good. Sutherland had a chance to go 1-0 up. The keeper made a fantastic save, and then
Gus is good.
Mate, Sydney just, you know what? They're in every game. They've got pace. They've got good energy, and they get you in the counter.
Yep.
Like they score goals from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They're not dominating matches. Like for example, we spoke about a Wanderers who actually keep the ball and stuff like that. Like Sydney sort of stay in a match and get an opportunity from nothing and score. And they've got that. They've got that. They've got pace everywhere. But I thought Sydney were good. I thought Sutherland. Poor,
I don't know what's
mate,
happening with Sutherland. No
poor.
idea.
Yeah, I think they got injuries.
They do have a few injuries.
I think they got injuries.
Yeah.
I think
Because that's, I think, at the start of the season, it was quite a bit of talk about them being competitive, or really fairly competitive this year, and they've just not they started all right, but they've not lifted again since they've dropped off.
Have you been into the new Seymour Shaw?
No, I'll go there on the weekend. Apia play there on the weekend, so I'll go see that on the weekend.
I'm interested. Apparently it's really
We'll
good.
get you back on next week, and you can give us a report and see more show.
Tell me on the weekly, man. Fuck.
Hey?
You do nothing else today.
Victoria? Was that it? Anyone else?
No, NPL Victoria.
Did we cover all the games, did I?
Yeah,
Aye.
all the games. Avondale lost their second game of the season. The lead at the top is cut to 2 points. I'll just grab it up here.
Where's
Hey.
Massa's at?
The Masses.
Preston.
Sitting
They're
fifth.
going good, mate.
Preston doing well,
Ooh,
haven't
lost
they?
the last couple of games.
the three teams chasing them, Oakley Cannons, Heidelberg and Dandenong Thunder, all picked up wins to cut the lead at the top to 2 points.
Tight, man. Very tight.
Very. Dandenong Thunder coming back from 2-1 down at half-time to beat Melbourne Victory 4-3.
Was that Rabona game?
Yeah.
See that goal? The Rabona?
I did. We talked about it the other day.
Decent, by the way.
Oh, to be honest, if it's 30th minute, let me ask you. You didn't say it?
No.
30th minute, he's going down the line. He's facing that way, the goal's there. Should he cross with his left or do a Rabona?
Well, obviously you went for a Rabona.
And he scored.
He scored, man.
As a coach, that is like
Yeah.
freakish. It won't happen again. If they were to do it, what would you do?
He'd drag him.
I knew the answer. But that's what I mean. He gave it a go.
Yeah.
Aye.
Great sensation, but realistically,
Aye.
mate, you're
Come
Do
on.
that 100 times.
You're in the grandstand the next game. I'll tell you that right
Yeah,
now.
100%.
Especially if you're not having a good game and you pull that off. But the kid must have full of confidence.
Yeah.
To pull that off. And I think the wind blew it a bit as
I
well.
was going to say, it's a cross, isn't it? It's a cross.
Look,
I think he's just trying to put it in.
What did he say? As long as he goes in.
Oh,
doesn't really
100%.
matter.
Of course,
And
mate.
that's what
100%. Aye.
you
Give you
know,
the benefit of the doubt that he's
Yeah.
pulled it off. But, yeah, I mean, from that angle, even if you've got a left foot normal strike, you're not shooting for there. That angle's too tight.
No,
They try to cut it
even
back.
if you're at perfect level,
Aye.
you won't
Yeah.
be able to shoot. But
Nah.
you know what? It's like when they do those the kick over the head. The what are they called? One that
Like
Riley
rainbow
McGree
flag?
did. Riley McGree did
Scorpion.
a few years ago.
The
The
scorpion.
Oh,
scorpion.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
You're throwing a foot out.
Yeah.
It's the same. You're trying it.
If it comes
If
off,
it comes off, hero.
Unreal,
Yeah.
mate.
And we're
That's it.
talking about it here.
if it doesn't come off and you go to coach, that's an aggressive bastard.
Like
Drag.
That's exactly right.
So quick run through the scores. Altona Magic lost 2-1 at home to Oakley Cannons. Green Gully beat South Melbourne 1-0, who are struggling.
No, I was
this
going to
season
say
so
there's
far.
some big like
South
Knights.
Melbourne?
Knights are down there. South Melbourne are down there. Wow, that's
South Melbourne, they're struggling.
Yeah, big time. Heidelberg beat Avondale 3-1. Dandenong City beat Port Melbourne 5-2. Preston Lions beat St Albans Saints 2-1. Did you see Romero's goal?
Oh, I did see it cracker, top bin, aye.
Hume City beat Melbourne Knights 2-1, and as I said, Melbourne Victory lost 4-3 to Dandenong Thunder. And just quickly, this episode is brought to you by our major sponsor, Insurers Pty Limited, your trusted partner in all general insurance, experts in construction and home warranty insurance. They're the go-to team for builders, homeowners needing reliable professional cover. Thanks to Insurers for leading the way in protecting what matters most in the building industry.
What I was going to mention was B-League draws tomorrow, the second division, the draw for it. What's your thoughts on the championship?
I think it'll be great. I think it's been something that we've been pushing for a long time. Look, there's going to be teething problems.
Of course, yeah.
There's going to be teething problems, but I think it's a step in the right direction. Let's see what it looks like. I think we'll get good crowds.
I hope so.
I think we'll get good crowds. I think there'll be interest. I think there'll be a lot of interest in it. And players get to play more games.
Aye,
They get to play more games. So, you know, these guys that are on the fringe are going into A-League, or these clubs that are in A-League that are looking for these players, they get more opportunity to play
some shop window.
big games, and it's great. For me, it's great. The money side of it, as long as that's good
Yeah,
and the clubs don't get bent over
yeah.
and they can sustain it, I think it's good.
Well, you, Daniel, what's your thoughts?
No, well, I remember last year when he was at United, we were always talking about it, and he was in all those meetings as well, talking about what's going to happen, and Zeljko was a very big advocate for it because again, you want more football, you want to play top level all the time. Here's the opportunity if you can't make those A-League teams, and there's some that always fall through the gaps.
Yeah.
So players that actually want to give it an absolute go, which I'm for. That's a perfect opportunity. But
All late developers, right?
well, that's it. You're playing against a top. It's like you're playing Champions League of Australia, non-professional type of feel. Like you're playing against the top teams in different states. Like what Preston Lions' first game was 9,000. Just imagine every week playing against.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying it's going to happen every week, but you have a lot of diehard fans that have been for those clubs because that's heritage.
Yep.
They will be coming. They will go and watch. But it just like anything, if it's done right, it'll probably show the A-League a bit how it's done as well, in my eyes, of how do we get more bums on seats, which is the biggest issue.
But not even just that. Like, I mean, I think the beauty about the B League is that we're playing at smaller grounds.
Yeah.
Like I think the
Atmosphere.
A League has lost the whole aura of a football match, right? So you go to a small ground, like you play at Marconi, 5,000 people. Play at Sydney United's ground, 5,000 people. Play at Preston, there was 9,000 people. Like it feels like
only
a
fit
proper
6 though.
football. Yeah, but
they managed to squeeze in three
mate,
more.
You know, like it feels like a proper football
Yeah,
match
it does.
at a proper football
Feels an
venue,
atmosphere.
right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and I think that's going to be a big part because some of those like NPL teams, they've got some really nice stadiums, though.
Yeah. Because I think there's nothing worse than watching a Sydney FC playing at Allianz with 5,000
What about
people.
Brisbane Roar at Lang Park?
How many?
At Suncorp?
At Suncorp.
Mate, 1,000 people.
Yeah.
You're watching it
In
and
a
you just hear
50,000
fans, where they come
stadium.
from.
Yeah.
it's crap.
No, I remember I used to love playing on Coopers in Adelaide.
One of the best grounds.
Honestly,
Why is it a bit? Why is that?
we were good with Victory because
Tight.
it's tight. 15,000 max. Like with Victory, when I was there, we were always averaging 22,000. So 30,000 stadium is tops. We're probably the only club doing that at the time. And now, when you look at fans are going down. If you're playing in a bigger stadium, it looks worse.
Yeah, it does look
So
worse.
why don't you go and find a smaller field? Yes, you can implement the amenities like the VAR and all that shit. But the smaller stadium is what football's all about. You go into these massive Liverpool, 50,000. We're talking Liverpool. If they put 100,000 stadium, they'll fill it out.
Yeah.
So they're on smaller fields, and we're going on bigger fields with less fans. And what I'm like that there, the feel of football is they're in your face. It's that atmosphere what soccer creates, because the AFL and NRL is a different kettle of fish. Soccer is that it's got to be in your face. And for me, Cooper's was one of the best. I hated going there because it was they spit on you. There's something in the water in Adelaide. I always say I loved. Few things to say, but it was good because I enjoyed it as a football player or just as a football fan. Like, shit, this is mad.
Yeah.
This is football.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I think the B League will also
Bring back.
which is like your Marconi, Sydney United, smaller stadiums, packed, fucking it roars.
Yeah.
And that's the best.
It's good. It was a decent turnout at the Apia game at the weekend.
Yeah, it was actually. Like, the venue to watch a football game.
It's
hard, man.
Oh my
We moved
God.
we moved it 4 times.
Seriously, man, I don't know where to watch the game from. Like, sometimes I'll go behind the goals, and then I can't see the goal because they got the signage around, so I can't see. So I go, this is a bad spot. Then I go over there, and then I got the railing over there.
And scaffolding.
Then I go up at the windows, and the windows
It
are in
shouldn't
the
be
way.
so hard for you. It's not like there's 2 million people everywhere.
It's not one of the greatest venues to watch a football game from. That's for sure.
That's true. That's true. But it was busy, and fair play to Apia. They did a lot in terms of trying to get people in.
They did cool little. Jude, who does the media there, did like the Italian, the cultural thing, the thing we spoke about for the B League. I think if they really lean on that, it'll get a lot of crowds back in again. Yeah. I think they've done a good job of that. So hopefully that's a taste of what's
to come.
Well, Melbourne's done ethnicity-wise, great. I don't know if you guys followed it, obviously because of Preston Lions being Macedonian. The president or that whole committee have gone out into like even versus South Melbourne when they played. President had a meeting, had a lunch before the game, which was never done before. And that there is showing like why there was no bullshit. Yes, there was a few flares at the game, but other than that, there was no ethnical crap that comes with it. Greeks, Macedonians, Italians, Serbs, all that stuff was what the A-League was trying to veer away from. If they can sit down as a club, we are in 2025, that shit's gone. Let's sit down and it's for the fans, for the kids, for something to look forward to.
Yeah.
They get that right, like what Melbourne's doing. Fans are full on. Like my mates were all Greeks and they all go to Preston Lion games because they go, there's no bullshit. It's just a great atmosphere if I can find parking.
They're going for the kebabi roll.
Look, the Chibapi rolls are amazing. Amazing. But again, you're going there, like you're going to get more people going there, especially if you implement this B League and it's done right. It's very positive for young players especially.
I agree, mate, 100%. Hopefully, was that September it starts? October?
Right after the season finishes, NPL.
The finals will probably be in September. World Attack Cup final as well, September.
The finals will be
September, isn't it?
September.
Then
They'll
World
probably
Attack Cup
have
final.
2-3 days off and 2-3 weeks off, and then they go into
October.
that, which is I think
quality.
it's great. I'm looking forward to it. See what it looks like.
Quick on to NPL 2.
Can you throw the league table up so I can see? Because there's a lot of shocks. Est Raiders lost, didn't they? And so did Tigers.
Yeah, so that's the table as it stands.
Fucking you're up there, by the way. And Lions are right up there.
They're going good. He's doing a great job there. Shane Chikavini, he's doing a great job at Inter Lions. Another club that's really transformed this year with younger players, mobile players, young players getting opportunities. And I think he's doing a great job. And they actually play a good brand of football, like playing a really nice brand of football. And I always say if you play a good brand of football, you win more games than you lose.
No, 100%. So going through this quickly. Yeah, Bulls beat ST Raiders, obviously league leaders, 2-1. Mounties, I've got this absolutely wrong here.
Jackie Brambles.
Jackie Brambles. I don't know what I've done. We drew, UNSW drew 1 each with the Berries. We were poor, to be fair, in terms of work rate. It was 2 points drop from our point of view, but fair play to Berries. They kept themselves in the game. We went 1-0 up, and great goal equalised, to be fair. Inter Lions beat Spartans 1-0.
Spartans have lost a lot, by the way.
Yeah, they've not done well the past few weeks. I'm going to need to look at this because I've done something.
Mate, you've got fucking 45 bits of paper there.
I know, that's what
Amazon rainforest.
Save a fucking tree, man.
I know, man.
You're getting it wrong too.
Last week he stitched me up. He was in Scotland visiting his family, and he puts the results, print them off, guys. Fucking reading the results. I'm like,
Wasn't Bankstown City the early favourites for this league to go up?
they're the favourites.
Favourites last year.
Favourites every year, I think.
I remember last year they got all these players, blah blah blah. We played them round 1. We spanked them. I'm like, I don't know what.
Yeah, they won't be happy where they are.
I know. I think it's
Raiders are doing quite well.
They play good football.
But I think what's happened now, anyway, there's been a lot of games where there's been cup matches. Teams have had to back up, and they all get a little bit found out because the squads aren't that deep.
Midweek game kills them for 2 weeks. 'Cause injuries, tiredness. Hills haven't been doing so well. Huh?
There we go.
Not at all, mate.
So, sorry, Inter Lions beat Mounties 2-0 at the weekend. Spartans beat MacArthur Rams 2-1. Dully was a bit of a shock result, in my opinion, beat Hills 1-0 at home. Dully have done actually quite well in the past maybe 4 or 5 weeks. They have 3 draws and 2 wins, so
tough,
they've not lost in 5 games.
The NPL2 is tough. We spoke about this last week at depth. There's nothing to play for after a certain period of time because there's only 2 spots.
Yeah.
After that, there's no finals or fuck all, so you're just...
Yeah, it's tough.
Like, Dully, you're saying they're doing 15 points or 10 points off top. Like, you need to go on a hell of a run.
You're saying NPL2, it happens in A-League as well, unfortunately.
Aye, true, I know, mate. That's the consequence thing.
When you have bonuses, and he'll tell you all about it, mate, you run like a dog no matter where you
are. Of course, I agree with you.
Bonus where you end up,
100%.
so unless you're fighting for a position, it's different. But
you're going from that, there's 3 points between 9th and 3rd in NPL2 at the moment, which is mad. Rydomere beat Tigers 5-0. Bankstown City Lions beat Newcastle Jets 3-2.
But they Bonnyrigg, by the way. Bonnyrigg have lost they've not won in 8 games or something.
Yeah, they're sitting 3rd bottom, I think.
5-1 against Hakoah, because Hakoah have been crap.
Hakoah have been very poor this year.
Bonnyrigg on 11 points, aye.
Hills to be down with.
I know, mate. Big cuts and
I heard they lost a lot of players from last
yeah,
year.
they're struggling. I mean, especially coming down from NPL 1, you'd expect them to be doing a lot better than they are currently.
But it all
Didn't the
comes
coach
down to
leave?
budgets, ain't it? It comes down to budgets.
Yeah,
mate,
coach
seriously.
left after pre-season, I think, as well.
Yeah, but
Like,
I even
they've
heard
done their
even last year,
pre-season.
like I think Muller was there.
Aye,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, there was a few of them that.
Yeah,
wanted
he's
to
now at the
leave.
Bulls, the Muller, Nikolai
is he?
Muller. Yeah, he does the
No,
academy.
but there was like 4 or 5 players that were like enough of the shit.
But they all do it, right? So they went down from NPL 1, they went down to NPL 2, and mate, players are hyenas anyway. They all think they're better than what they are, so they think I got relegated there. I'll go find another club in NPL 1, and it's not that easy.
No,
It's not
teams
that
are
easy.
full.
Yeah, teams are full if they've recruited well.
I love when you hear it. Yeah, but I did this, and you're like,
Yeah, you did a lot, son.
I love it when they say it to him. I just look at me and he goes, "Don't."
Yeah, don't start.
That's why I put the hat on.
They put a balaclava on and they start telling me their career stories. Like, oh, really? Really interesting career. Yeah. Go sell your eyes to another Eskimo, mate.
So quickly, NPL 3 results in the weekend. Central Coast United beat Hawkesbury 3-1. Sydney Uni lost 2-1 at home.
No, that's not right, mate.
What?
I'm not joking.
Absolute panic, man. As South Coast Flume beat Sydney Uni 2-1. Bankstown turned to winning ways, beat Nepean 2-1.
Zagreb flying.
Yeah, Zagreb are flying. Although they lost at the weekend to Inner West Hawks, lost 3-1. Fraser Park drew 2 each with Parramatta. Prospect also lost at the weekend, which is obviously keeps the gap the same between first and second. They lost 2-1 at home to Gladesville Ride Magic. And Dunbar beat Granville Rage 5-1.
Pumped.
It's an absolute...
Sydney Uni still haven't got a win.
That they'll win this weekend though.
We'll see. Wild man, 12 games, no wins.
That done with all the NPL football. So why we're here, gentlemen, to speak about you two.
I'm ready to go home. We finished. Job's finished.
We've done our job, mate. We've gone through everything.
Another
haven't we?
Actually,
It's
before
time
Chaz,
for Kavica
Chaz,
steak sandwich and chips.
this is actually our 50th episode of this show. That's why I wanted
Congratulations,
to get...
guys. It's great.
Thank you.
Well done.
Cheers, mate.
I know I dogged you 2 years ago, but
I know, mate, I was asking.
a year ago.
I saw you
I
did,
was
that's
like,
right. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, he said, he was like, come. I go, yeah, I'll let you know. But I thought it was in the fucking city, so I was hoping I had a meeting in the city to do it. And then just life.
That's not what happened. He messaged me saying, your show's not big enough for me just yet. Get back to me when you've grown. Do you know what I mean? I was like, fair enough, mate.
Shows, mate. The music's changed, huh?
Bloody Paramount Plus got rid of me, so I had nothing on me, mate. I was like gagging for freelancing gigs.
What's it? You do was it the A-League warm-up or something like that?
Yeah, we got our own show. I got a call at the start of the A-League, and they said, like, we want to do a different show because Eddie Maguire's company, Jam TV, took over the production line for A-League.
Yep.
And then the week of, I get a message from a guy, Nick Stoll, who I'd met. He was with Lucy Zeljko at SBS. Funny enough, last time I saw him was when my son was born because St. Leonard's Hospital is right next to where SBS used to be, studying. And I saw him at the coffee shop and he goes, mate, SBS is done. And I went, football and SBS finished. Mate, my son was born the day before and that news is...
Killed me.
Fuck, you're raised on SBS and football, right? And then we just followed each other on Instagram and hadn't spoken for 3 years. And then in October, he sends me a text and goes... come in for something like just have a chat. And I go, yeah, no worries, man. We'll have a chat. We'll see what's going on. And he goes, they're pretty much, it was another producer, Tanner, and he goes, we're looking for a show. We've got the tactic show because everything's new. Like when that happened, the A-League was just about to start. So you got your tactic show. You got the one with Tom Yor and Vinny Rigari. And he was like, I don't know the right word for it, idiocy. And I went, you found the right bloke for the job. What are we going to do? He goes, we don't know. We will just figure it out and we'll go from there.
That's pretty much
so
what
it
we've
was
done
pretty
here.
much, and my idea was always that, yeah, that's it. If you watch the show, you're
Like
like,
it.
what the fuck are they doing? We're actually saying what the games are coming on the weekend, but that's about it. Like, that's pretty much it. And it's more that getting another audience that's not into the tactics, that's not into the football side of things, the dumb shit, which, funny enough, that's all I watch. So I didn't watch, I loved NRL growing up, but I love watching Matty Johns on the
he's
show.
funny, Matty Johns.
So those things is what I was like, that's what another crowd to bring in. Like, people like watching dumb stuff. Mika Richards, Terry Henry.
Yeah.
I watch it on YouTube, just the clips of them.
So
doing
funny,
that.
man.
So putting that into what they're looking to do, I will give it a go. And we haven't been cancelled yet. We I thought this week was the last one because the season's over, but we still got another. We're doing it all the way through to the finals.
Brilliant.
So what's it on? Is it on
It was
YouTube?
great. It's on YouTube. It's on the social platforms.
Yeah.
I just tell them just do a collaboration, and I'll do it. Other than that, I just rock up, talk shit,
And then
leave.
go. Yeah.
And Nick Stoll, all the producers, they all just do it, and it's actually got a good following. It's just building that following up.
I think
And
that
it's
stuff is for me. And I was actually saying, I would rather watch something that's a bit more raw and then a bit less like polished because anyone involved in football likes the changing room banter. The changing room's what it's all about. So you start getting the stupid stuff, and that's what it's actually like when you start watching like Match of the Day. And that understandably has to be produced a certain way, but there's too many shit like that. You don't really see the true people behind what's happening, like the banter, the funny stuff. People don't say what they want to say.
Yeah,
so there's a lot
100%.
of things that are just in little pockets of cliques, people having opinions, when really everyone's thinking the same thing, but everyone's too scared to say it or too scared to mention it. So you mention people like, I'd rather watch that because that's fucking
Well,
the
this
truth.
thing, when we have a coffee, and when we have a lunch, coffee's mongoloids, this stuff, right? But when we actually sit down and have lunch or whatever it is, you're talking about the old stuff. And now the stuff that you can say. There's a lot of things that,
of course,
secrecy, it's a change room, it stayed there, it's locked up, it's not coming out. But the stuff that we'll have a chat with when he starts talking about Ancelotti, and you're like, fucking hell, watch him, like, he's God.
Yeah.
It was my coach. So some things like that where it's like, you wouldn't have, unless you meet him or see him or have the opportunity to have a chat with him, you never find that out. And that's just this man here. Other stuff as well, especially in the A-League, that kid, that bloke or whatever, they find an old footage, we collide. And that there is what we all pretty much want.
Yeah.
Like even me, what I experience, like I forget things. Or, you had that guy. And somehow he connects from someone else that played in another team. It's like, he was a dickhead. But things like that. And it's like, if you can be able to create a show on that where it's politically correct, like we film for about half an hour to 40 minutes. Only 8 gets aired because...
Only 8 minutes?
Well, it has to be edited, and I think it's only up to 8-9 minutes. But we're there for 35 minutes. So imagine the dumb shit I say. But that's what it's about.
I don't have to imagine me. You're sitting right here.
Are we all fair? So the stuff that they do, it's edited, and then it gets sent to the A-League, and they edit it, and what is actually okay to say. So if Zeljko came...
There's nothing
2-minute episodes.
We wouldn't be able to talk
Perth
about
Glory's
it.
defence, and I will smash Perth Glory, and then I look at the end product when I see what everyone else sees, and like, how come I only got 3 seconds of Perth Glory? 3 minutes, like, what defending is it? But we don't. It's not about that. It was more about what we can do. So it's just giving another angle and not doing what everyone else does. And then like, there's one in Melbourne with Max Rushton, Archie Thompson, and then like they said, well, what's the camera guy? Max Rushton goes, what's the camera guy shaking in that? He just kind of like said, oh, you can watch that show, but X, Y, Z. It's like, well, it's a bit interesting. It's different.
Yeah.
Of course, because that's what we are trying to do. It's not your standard sit down, talk football, 3 blokes on the 4 blokes on the couch. Just talking. It's more every other shit that you didn't see.
Yeah.
Like who would have known that Auckland have a slide next to the stadium?
No, I didn't know that.
But you get what I mean? In my mind, can you imagine the dumb shit I said after that?
That's funny.
Imagine someone was skinny dipping on that one or something like that. But it's those things that you wouldn't know that'll be like, you know what? If I'm in Auckland, I'm going to go watch this game because it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
So things that if you didn't know, and it's attracting a different crowd.
Yeah, good.
There's one of them at Marconi as well, isn't there? What? Slide? Is there?
Do they still have that ball at Marconi? Do they still have that ball?
I do, aye.
Far.
No, they refurbished it.
So someone finally painted
Deploy's
it.
got it.
Deploy.
I remember that ball growing because I played in Marconi grub. I go, what's in there? you're dumb in a blade. Imagine if you can climb in there or something and dad smacks you in the head, get in the car, you play the ball.
That's funny. Right, I'll grab this.
Alright, so for the 50th episode, we've given away a prize here. So we've got this big wheel of nonsense.
Hey, you UK love this stuff, huh?
In
Australia, they tried to do it, but it was all the UK boys that brought it in.
I used to, for punishment, it's the forfeits and all that.
Yeah,
for
the fine money,
fines,
yes.
aye.
Oh, he's a cop double 4, times it by 4. I might get fucked. How can you times $100 by 4 for something that was a shin paid or something?
Mate, do you know you say that? I was in, our fines were last week and I was in Scotland for...
Chaz, I want to hear you because it makes her.
Oh shit.
Sorry.
I get fined an absolute fortune for being away, man.
Did you, aye? In Scotland, did you?
Fortune, like $270 or something.
Right, Chaz, you
Then
ready?
there's a spin as well.
Yeah, one of you can come and spin it.
Starty, just lift your finger up and do it. You don't need to move much. Look at that, hoppa.
So one YouTube subscriber's getting this, and we'll give it as So that's
We don't muck around.
$150.
Straight with the money, Starty, huh?
$150 voucher for football fitness, which unfortunately is my business, so I've just considered.
Beautiful.
Do 2 more. Do 2 more.
Do a nice big spin.
A big
as
one, a
well.
big daddy one, aye.
Yeah. The
There we go.
keepers, mate. Oh, fuck. Here we go.
Oh, there's a jackpot there as well.
There is, aye. BN Sports subscription, annual
taking
subscription
that
from
one.
BN Sports.
Oh, that's
Last
gold.
one.
Last one. Let's go. Chicken!
We called it.
Magic,
mate.
right? So it's
Bravo.
we'll pick 3 YouTube subscribers.
And then just the coffee or something.
So they get every single prize on there.
Every prize.
Are you kidding?
Nah, every
Who
prize.
gets this?
YouTube subscribers.
Oh, mate, you're cheering.
So there's 3 subscribers. We'll pick them out of a hat and then we'll do that draw.
Jackpot.
That's good.
voucher.
Do they get a lemon as well?
They get
or-
a lemon, aye.
They're $4 a pop, aren't they?
Oh, do they?
Not cheap,
Not
mate.
bad.
The show's called Champagne Football Lemonade Banter, so we just had that as fucking. Just give
That's
people a
gold.
lemon.
Well done. Everyone that's on that board like, shit, they hit the jackpot. Far out.
He's just subscribed. He's like, fucking pick me.
Look at that 10-day freeway.
That's you $300 down, man.
That's what it is.
That's three.
I'm the fucking 2.
You change, you're like, yeah. Oh, shit.
Losing a fortune, man. Right, okay, class. Before we get started, one thing I wanted to ask both of you is, in terms of game day prep, so I'll ask you, Daniel, as a player, so say you got a game on a Saturday night, how did you prepare for it? In the morning of, like, wake up?
Okay, I used to prepare the same way for 10 years.
Yeah, okay.
So when I moved to Steaua Bucharest, even just before, I think in Croatia, I started this like, when Croatia was more in Romania, because we had our own chef. And because of that, he always prepped the same food. And you always twinker on things. And we had 2 games a week. So my thing would be, if it was a Saturday game, Thursday night, pasta. Friday morning, we have training. So lunch, I make an omelette. because the chef will create certain things. And
Are you eating at the ground?
We'll be at the ground, but then when I came to the A-League, I did the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
So even if you had 2 games during the week, same thing. So then my food prep was the same. Omelette, a nap, dinner I'll have steak, veggies. I'll cook it myself in Australia, but over there they used to do it. Game day would be eggs on toast. So a piece of toast, scrambled eggs. Lunch would be rice, chicken, bit of Napolitan sauce. At 5 o'clock, coffee, a piece of better Nutella or whatever it is. And gone on game day. That was every game for 10 years. And the sleep never changed. You know, you have to, night before a game, never see me out. If you did, I was anxious up to be at home. You'd have a good rest.
Yep.
I would sleep till 7:30 in the morning, or when you have kids, till 7. But it was always the same prep. And if I twinkled with it, I changed it. If it's working, don't change it. And it was good for my body. Nutritionists might say X, Y, Z, but it was everything my body needed, and that's when I knew I was ready. There was no... When I changed it a bit, shocking.
Yeah, your head's gone straight away as well.
No, there was one time when I moved to Melbourne, and I didn't have a place to cook because I was used to the chef, so I was trying to find a restaurant. There was one downstairs where I live on Chapel Street, and the bloke put too much garlic in the Napolitan sauce. And we're playing Adelaide at home, and everyone's saying this fucking rivalry, like what do they call it, the original rivalry? I'm like, man, what is this? Coming from Europe, mate, I'm burping in the warm-up garlic. I'm struggling, and it was packed stadium, and I don't remember who I was playing, and and there was like 2 times I was burping, and the ball come across. It's probably the only time in my career I got beaten by just watching the ball. I was on the back post. One guy, he came once, we saved it. Second time, but I'm just burping garlic. I fucking hated it. I don't know how I didn't get a red card because I just kept. It wasn't working, so you start thinking, what am I doing? I'm dragging him down. Things aren't working because you're not concentrating on the game. You're concentrating on your digestion and probably not shit your pants. And so that little one, and I remember that one game was because of that until I found the right person to cook for me or to do that or me preparing myself. But yeah, that little thing, and then after that, just didn't think of it. It was just
automatic.
Normal. This time, my stomach's like, I need this.
Yeah.
It was just interesting. But I actually want to know his one too.
It's interesting though for you that you start on a Thursday night. Do you know what I mean? That was your...
But I was...
It's Thursday night,
For my football fitness, but like, obviously I work with a lot of players. Like, if you're leaving your game day... Fucking hell. If you're leaving your game day fueling to Saturday, which most players do, what's happening there?
Wind?
Is it, aye? Game day fuel to Saturday before kick-off. It's too late, man.
Yeah,
a lot of boys
100%.
I had a bowl of pasta at 2 o'clock. I'm like, mate, that's gone, man. Like,
But
you need to start 2 days ago.
I was thinking in my head Fridays. That would be my... But
That's a lot of players do, but if you start, like, from a physiological standpoint, you need to start, like, 40 hours prior to start fueling, because obviously he's training in between, he's walking about in between, you're starting to burn that shit off, so you need to... Saturday, I would always say to players, like, you've got a routine. Don't really want to fuck with that too much, because some players have got psychological things where I have this for breakfast, I have this for lunch. Some people like to eat a lot, some people don't like to eat a lot, so you don't want to mess with that too much. But I think there's obviously things from a fitness perspective, a physical you need to do, man.
Yeah, look, a one-off changing something, like I bought an apartment, so I was putting the furniture together on game day, and I was almost late at the game. That there, in my mind, I was like, this better not bite you in the ass, because you're here to play football. You have to concentrate on your football, which is that, not anything else. So people that have rituals of doing something, no, go for a walk.
Aye.
You're there for one. You prepare a week for one game.
Yeah.
Fucking do it right.
I like that.
And that's what annoys me. And I was telling you, there was a game I saw. Starting, the game starts at 7 o'clock, yeah? 5 o'clock he's having a shish kebab because he hadn't eaten all day.
Oh my God.
And that's when I realised, fuck, he's NPL. But that there, like, you're not prepared for battle. Like, your mates, your change room, that's your, you know? And after, what are you going to do? Like, it's too late.
Yeah,
you
100%.
didn't prepare right, regardless of what level you're at. And if you have it as a young, it's good routine, because everyone thrives as human beings on routine. That's your routine. You got no excuses after. I hate hearing excuses about it.
100%.
Mate, that's what you can control.
100%.
You like excuses, don't you?
You know when
Mate, I say excuses are like the arsehole. Everyone's got one. Like, mate, just...
And opinions as well.
Oh, opinions, yeah.
You know he's aged the year and a half we've been together. Just saying.
Far out, mate. Some of the stuff I've seen since coming back to Australia, I didn't know that I played or had the career that I had after coming back here. You'd think other people have had better careers than me and understand the game better than me, and I just go, mate, you got really good experience from having such a good career and knowledge about football, having not played anywhere. Pretty good.
What about you, mate? Do you have a specific routine?
Yeah, it's funny. I think I think a 3 o'clock kickoff and an evening kickoff. Like when I played in Holland and England, a lot of it was afternoon kickoffs. So I've never been a breakfast person.
Yep.
So I've never been a breakfast person. I'm not a late sleeper, but I would drink a lot of coffee. So I always had 2, 3, 4, 5 coffees before. Mate, I could drink 15 coffees a day, no problem now. Like that's my daily ritual now is about 15 coffees. But I don't eat breakfast. I don't eat breakfast. I don't eat breakfast. So
because you're in a fucking toilet
for me,
pan.
if it was a 3 o'clock kickoff, I'm having lunch at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I always had pasta or a rice, always. And that was good for me. Ready for the game. Always about 3.5 hours before kickoff. That was my meal.
Yeah.
But in the evenings, like in Italy, they kick off at 8:45.
Oh, that's right.
Like so, it was like
Ready for bed.
in the morning you're getting up, you're going to training. So we used to train in the mornings.
Right.
Then we'd have lunch. I hated that routine. Like I hated training in the morning because it was like far out, man. Do I have to get up? Like even though I wasn't a late sleeper, it was just you go around there, you shower, then you have lunch, then you have a sleep in the afternoon, which took me forever to get used to. Like I couldn't sleep in the afternoons, like coming from Holland and that where like I just never slept.
Yeah.
But when I got to Italy, it was the best. That afternoon sleep of 2 hours was gold. And then you have pre-match.
Your training was afternoon as well in Milan.
Yeah, we trained in the afternoon as well. Then you'd go to the game, but then after the game, you couldn't sleep.
Yeah, wild tie.
Because you've slept 2 hours in the afternoon, mate. You're fully wired up, your adrenaline from the game. So then that's when the fun happened.
We'll get that.
That's before iPhones and
That's when
The good
fun
times.
you're up
happens.
till 4 in the morning, twinkling your thumb. You're not in a hotel room. Where are you going?
That was
you're
good
allowed.
fun. But now that like I see, like I always say, what Daniel says, right? You got to have some sort of preparation. Doesn't matter what level you play. You got to have, and I think when you're consistent in preparation for a match, so you'll know if I've eaten 3 hours before and I feel heavy for a game, well then eat 4 hours.
4
before.
hours, yeah.
Change it up.
You know what I mean? So you got to actually feel it as well, and everyone's different. Someone might not want to have pasta.
Exactly.
I felt like I didn't have enough energy unless I had pasta or a rice or something like that. But someone else might have a
Yeah,
chicken and a
everyone's-
salad. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, but you don't have to overeat come game day.
No, definitely not. No.
You know. Whereas, like in England, oh my God, I never forget. We went with Milan to play Man City in the opening of the Man City Stadium, and mate, we got there, and pre-match meal was like boiled chicken, baked beans, and all that. And the Milan boys just said, "What the fuck?" Mate, everyone was starving, mate. No one ate anything because, mate, our meals were like full 5-star catering. We had our own chef everywhere. And because we went in on the day to play and come out, when they gave us their meal, it was like, this ain't happening, mate. I never seen anyone like so eager to get back to Italy so we could go out and eat, mate. It was insane because they're not used to it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Do you have
Didn't
a?
now an English player leave? What's his name? McTominay from Manchester.
Napoli.
And he's loving it in Napoli because of the food.
He's
What are you
played-
talking about? The pasta. Mate,
pasta's the
my
best in
kids used to come to Milanello and they would make spaghetti pomodoro, the simplest of simplest, and they would eat it like no tomorrow.
Yeah.
No tomorrow. They loved it. We come back to Australia and took them to an Italian restaurant. They ordered spaghetti pomodoro, refused to eat it. They said, this ain't spaghetti pomodoro.
That's Italy. Like I would travel in Italy, mate. Every little shop,
Yeah, the
pasta's
best.
top notch.
The best.
There's no there's a reason why it is. But
Yeah, it's the best.
Even that, there was a story. So my old roommate was roommates with Adebayo back in the junior days. He would come. It wasn't just him that told me, and also my teammate Kirikash, who signed for Tottenham. Adebayo will rock up, always late. Big player, always late, always paying the fine. Morning game when they'll play 1 o'clock, Arsenal 2 o'clock, 10:30, baked beans, bacon, egg. They go, this bloke is not running today. Fucking bang into hat trick.
Yeah.
But he goes, the breakfast there, and he came from Stour, which like obviously Stour compared to Tottenham is
Yeah.
up to here. He goes, but what they offered, and it's like Adebayo was the best player fucking now. He's having the worst of the worst prep. He goes, I couldn't do it because like I'll be burping bacon and whatnot. He was just a naturally gifted, unbelievable player. But then if you go and repeat that, you're cooked.
And you get some freak spot who just water off a duck's back. Do
He
whatever.
He was one of them. But then Ronaldo came to Manchester United, and everyone knows that story. No one ate cakes. No one had anything because you just look at him and that's where it's like food is so important. And in Italy, we don't even have to say.
In Italy, you could have a vino the day before the day of a match.
I was going to say that. I've heard stories of people that leave a glass of wine, bottles of wine at the table.
At lunch and stuff like that. And I'm going, mate, are we on the piss already?
I was listening to a podcast with a Scottish player. I can't remember who it was, and he said his first day in Italy, went for team meal, and there's a bottle of red wine, and he's like, like, is that a joke? Can I open it? Like, what's the crack here? And he said he waited for one person, and he's like, oh, fucking brilliant.
Brilliant. No, it's a different world in Italy, the way they do it. And it's, mate, I remember Goran Pandev was saying, when they won the treble,
Pandev, man, what a player he was.
Inter Milan, he goes, mate, everyone had one bottle of wine. Schneider will have two. And they just had, he goes, not before a game, you're cooked. You're smashed. But the games are at 9 o'clock at night. He goes, mate, the next day, and Mourinho, he goes, the best fun. But they won the treble because the preparation that club, or like what he was at, is different level. There's a reason behind it. I'll just try to replicate it. You can't. But this is back in the day.
Yeah, nowadays, no chance.
Nowadays, it's magnesium and fucking electrolytes.
Mate, I remember Flamini just signed for us at Milan. And, you know, the food's there, and he piled his plate on with everything, you know. So he just come from Arsenal to Milan, and he piled his plate, and his plate was like that, right? And the Italians are looking at him, going, "What the?" And he's mixing everything up, and they're losing it. They're ready to kill him, you know. Like, you don't mix that pasta with this meat with that. Like, every plate has its own. Has its own. Like the salads on one plate. The meat's on one plate. The pasta's on it. He just put it all on one plate.
One man off
and everyone was going, mate, what the hell is going on here? Well, everyone's different.
On that, we'll go to careers, because you've both had wonderful careers, and we'd like to hear a bit more about them. So for you, Zeljko, we'll start. Where did your football start? When did you become a goalkeeper?
I started at Ludnum, Croatia.
Right.
I did play on the field. And then, we lost the game, and then my father was the coach, and then I actually went in goals from there, and that's how my sort of...
How old were you when you first went in?
What was I? Probably 10 years old.
Okay.
10 years old when I went in goals, and then back in that time, there was no loads, no anything. Like, I was representing Nepean at the time and playing for my club team as well on the weekends, so we're playing Saturdays and Sundays. And then from there, I went to Sydney United at under 13s, and then first grade at 16, and then I was overseas by 18.
By 18, and your first overseas was Leicester.
Leicester. So I went to NK Zagreb in Croatia.
Right.
And then the war broke out, and then I come back, and I was here for a little bit, and then I went to
And how did that come about?
Leicester come about. So I was playing an international. We actually played against Argentina in Argentina. It was their last game before the Copa America. They actually won it that year. And we lost 2-0. We played at a new stadium. I don't know where it was. We played at a new stadium. I had a really good game, but there was already talks about Leicester, but at the same time, I had Leicester, Leeds and Celtic all at the same time. And I chose Leicester because there was a Aussie guy, Mick Hickman, who was a part of the staff.
Right, okay.
So I ended up, and I actually thought of it in this way, that I wasn't quite ready for a Leeds or a Celtic at the time, and I thought Leicester being in the Championship, it'll give me time to find my feet and develop as a keeper over there. And I had a lot of work permit problems, like heaps of work permit problems. It wasn't like now. We didn't play many games with the national team. We were playing like 5-6 games.
What was the rules around the work permit?
So we had to play like 90%.
90%.
Or something like that.
We were national team.
But we were playing 4 or 5 games a year at that time. Okay. We weren't playing as many games as the boys are playing now for the national team. So it was quite difficult. And at the time, there was obviously me, Bozza, Schwartzy, Robbie Zabika.
Some top keepers in it, man.
You know, Johnny Filan. Mate, like there was some really good keepers at the time, and it was very hard that you're going to play all 4 or 5 games at that time. So I ended up getting in, but the season had already started at Leicester. And then when I finally got in, I can't remember exactly how many months we were already in. I finally got in. Mark McGee brought me to Leicester.
Mark McGee today?
But then Mark McGee ended up going to Wolves, and he wanted to take me to Wolves, but guess who come to Leicester that year? Martin O'Neill. So it was like I was juggling between two teams. Like I was like, Wolves wanted to take me to Wolves because Mark McGee brought me to Leicester.
Yeah.
But then O'Neill was saying, well, hang on a second. Man, he's our player. We want him back here. So I was like, I was getting pulled around, but I wasn't getting game time anywhere.
Yeah, okay.
And anyway, I ended up at Leicester and finished the season at Leicester, and it was the year we got promoted.
Yeah.
It
Was that
the
Martin
year-
Neal was a gaffer?
Yeah.
Oh,
it was
how
the
was
year,
that?
and I come on in the final against Crystal Palace at Wembley. It was 1-1, I think, and we were about to go to penalties, and he made the sub, and he brought me on and took Pooley off.
Yeah.
And we had a free kick, and there was probably 2-3 minutes left of the match, and we scored. We scored from the free kick, 2-1. There was like 3 minutes left, and that was that. But then at the end of the year, I didn't get my work permit. I didn't get the renewal of the work permit, and then I ended up coming back to Australia for, I think, 6 months.
Yeah.
And then ended up going to Rhoda after that.
How did you find Martin O'Neill?
He was a strange and witty, like
he's funny.
strange and witty. But we had a gun team. We had so many good guys. Like we had.
Was Lennon there? Neil Lennon?
Yeah, he lived with me.
No way.
Yeah. He lived
You're a
with
big Celtic fan, so
he lived with me, Lennon. We had Muzzy Izzet. We had Gary Parker. Was
Steve Guppy, was he there?
Walshy. Steve Walsh.
Steve Walsh, okay.
Yeah, Steve Walsh, Simon Grayson, Julian Joe Chim,
Oh, wow.
Big Emil Heskey. Like we had a
class.
gun team, but it was a real close unit.
Yeah.
Like, and it was, and I was a kid, and I was 19. I didn't know shit about football. You know, you think, I got sold for a record price from Australia at 19, mate. I didn't know jack shit.
Yeah.
When you get to England, you see it's a real dog-eat-dog world, mate. There's no time to find your feet. It's, mate, you get sink or swim. You know, it was like throw you in there, and I actually wasn't ready for it. Like I actually now see that I actually wasn't ready for that level. I needed time that the work permit actually didn't give me.
Yeah, of course.
But it actually all worked out for the good for me.
Yeah.
Because I got to, I think what would have happened with me, I reckon, had I stayed in England and had time to develop, I probably would have never have left England. I probably would have made the moves to stay in England, and like it's a bit of a Cirque du Soleil, right? Once you're in like that sort of circus, there's 4 divisions, and you can just keep bouncing around.
Yeah, you're always somewhere else to go.
There's always somewhere else to go. Whereas I had to do it a little bit the hard way and come back to Australia, then go to Holland when Holland was actually an interesting place as well.
Yeah.
Because I was supposed to sign at Dortmund.
Right.
Fucking hell.
I was supposed to sign at Dortmund, and I was at Dortmund for 4 weeks, and the keeper of Dortmund was Stefan Kloss at the time.
Oh, what a
Oh,
keeper.
wow, he was good, man.
And he was supposed to go to Rangers.
Yeah, okay.
And I was training with Dortmund. He was supposed to go to Rangers, and I was supposed to stay at Dortmund. Well, he didn't end up going to Rangers because there was a clause in the contract.
Right.
So he ended up staying at Dortmund for another year. And I said, well, what am I going to do here? And then I got a phone call. I was supposed to go sign for Vitesse. So from Dortmund, I'm driving to Vitesse Arnhem to sign for Vitesse, who had a goalkeeper called Sander Westerveld, who ended up going to Liverpool, right? So he was supposed to go to Liverpool, but on my way to Vitesse, I get a phone call, Rhoda need a keeper, go to Rhoda.
Right.
So we turn around on the freeway, and we ended up going to Rhoda.
Mental. So this is on the phone the whole time?
No, the whole time. It was insane. So I was supposed to sign at Dortmund.
Yeah.
This keeper didn't leave, so the opportunity closed. I'm driving to Vitesse Arnhem because this keeper's supposed to go.
Yeah.
And as I was driving there, Rhoda offered
keeper.
me a much better deal.
Yeah.
And they had no keeper.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to Rhoda.
Class, that's brilliant. And then when you were at Rhoda, you won the cup?
We won the Dutch Cup without conceding a goal, which was, and I think we knocked out Utrecht away, we knocked out Ajax, and we ended up playing Nek Nijmegen in the final. Mate, that was such a good club, Rhoda. Like, honestly.
What was good about it?
Just, we had a lot of foreigners. It was a weird location of Holland. It was like a dialect place. It was a pretty particular place. But the setup was really good, and we played on this ground called Karl Heide, and I swear to God, it was a cow paddock. Mate, the place looked like it was going to get knocked down, but no one could come and beat us there.
Yeah,
like it was a dungeon. Ajax thought they'd come and play tiki-taka football there, mate. But when it was wet, you sink up until your ankles, mate. That's how deep it was, mate. So it was really a home ground advantage.
Yeah.
And we had a real good group of players. We were always 4th, 5th, 6th, behind the PSVs, Ajax, Feyenoords. Herenveen were really strong at the time. Twente were really strong at the time. Like, it was a proper Dutch league. Like, I mean, I remember playing PSV. Their strike force was Van Nistelrooy and Luke Nillis was a 10. Like, man, they had gun players. De Boer brothers were at Ajax at the time. Yeah. Like, Overmars. Robin was still playing for Groningen when I was there. Like, it was a proper league, And then in time, they built a new stadium, and mate, we were useless.
That's just too good.
Mate, they built this beautiful 20,000 stadium, and mate, we couldn't win because no one feared coming there anymore. They said, mate, we're coming to a nice stadium. The stadium's full, mate. The Ajax's, Feyenoord's, PSVs, they go, mate, how good
Yeah,
is
we
this?
pop the ball now, man.
We're chasing shadows,
That's funny.
But yeah, it was a great experience. Like, Holland for me was the making of me.
Yeah. In what way? How did it shape you?
Look, the style of football.
Yep.
Playing out with the feet. So, we talk about how the game's changed. I don't think the game's changed.
Yep.
Like, I used to play out with my feet when I was playing in Australia when I was 16, 17. So going to Holland was actually, we talk about players making the right moves at the right time. Holland was the right move at the right time for me.
Yeah.
England at that time when I was 19, like, let's be honest, how many of young players get sold from here at 19, 20 and go play in a first team overseas?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not many.
They don't do it. But I can look at that as hindsight and say, well, when a young player says to me, I'm going here, I'm going there, and I say to him, what are you going, backpacking?
Yeah.
Because mate, you're not going to be playing.
I'd say they won't see the front door, but the one thing that you said there, sorry if I'm...
No, go.
I actually mentioned this before, but the fact that he had Leeds and Celtic, nowadays any kid will pick those two over Leicester. Or
100%.
not. Yeah, they just say Leicester's somewhere else. The fact that he had that age to decide, I'm actually going to have more opportunity here than these two.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Every kid's picking these two, Leeds and Celtic.
100%.
Leeds, Celtic. Sad thing is they don't see the front door. Mm-hmm. And then it's like you're on a loan here, gone on loan there, and then after 5 years you've been to 7 clubs.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll just come back to the A-League. And it's like, well, it's the guidance at the start.
100%.
And people don't want to hear
Daniel
it.
Azani, how did Daniel Azani went to Celtic?
Yeah.
And
I was at Melbourne City when he left.
I
was at Melbourne City. I was coaching at Melbourne City when I said, mate, you're not ready.
15 games he played.
That's only me giving advice that you're actually not ready because I'd been there.
Yeah,
and I'd seen I wasn't ready. I thought I was good, but I was shit.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't mature enough to handle that kind of pressure. And Celtic offered me a lot more money. Leeds offered me a lot more money. But I actually did really go to Leicester because I thought, right, division lower, it'll give me time to develop, it'll give me time to adapt.
Yeah.
And...
very mature decision making.
No, 100%.
Very mature.
Yeah.
Kids need to hear that.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, oh, but I didn't know. No. There's people here that can do it. That's why we laugh when we say people tell him about what. Kids ask the people that have been there. Parents ask. It's actually parents more than anything. What will be the decision? I've got these offers. That's amazing. Don't pick it as a financial decision. Pick it as, we're in Australia, which we always say it's like a hobby more than religion compared to over there.
Yep.
You're going into a religious environment of football, mate, it's a dog-eat-dog world, like you just said. And it's exactly that. Like, you got to take a step down or two so you can actually get your foot in there.
100%.
Just because you signed there doesn't mean shit. They've got 60 players on loan. It means nothing. And that's where it's like, he's the guidance of someone paid up there.
Yeah.
They don't
But
take
you don't really know it. Like, back then I didn't know it, but I love the game.
Yeah.
I still love the game. I still eat, breathe, sleep football. These kids that are making decisions or, certain agents that are pushing kids in certain directions, do you think they're making decisions for the kids to go to the right place to play? No. Or do you think they're going because where can I get the most money?
Most money,
almost definitely.
And I think this is where we've changed. I think our generation, we still love the game.
Yeah.
Like, I was brought up loving the game.
Yeah.
These kids now, why do I have to run? Why do I have to do this hard work? Because don't you want to be the best you can be?
Yeah.
Don't you want to play at the highest level that you can get to?
That's what we were talking about before.
But
exact same conversation.
That's how I looked
Money
at
will
it.
come and go.
Yeah.
Will go faster before it comes.
Yeah,
And this is the
how
thing,
it
and
was.
that's not what at the end of your career. Sorry for stopping you.
No.
At the end of your career, you don't look at how much money you made. That's the last thing on your mind because you're going into a different world in your mid-30s. It's what you've accomplished.
100%.
It's what you can come and sit down here and be honoured to come onto a podcast and have a talk about it. It's what you can bring to the table. And I was lucky enough to have a career.
Yeah.
Go to the table where guys made more money than me in football, but they never played where I played.
Aye.
But they're going to say, oh yeah, but this and that. I'd be like,
Doesn't
did you
matter.
play?
Nah,
Because
mate,
at the end, that
100%.
money, the people that are on that table don't give a shit because they probably got more money than you. They want to hear about your story.
Yeah, it's
They wanna hear about
memories
what
and what it's brought you.
who you know.
Yeah.
If these people that made that money don't know these people like him, for example.
100%.
Somebody like that. It's more what you've accomplished while you played because it's just a game. Because when you're finished, you still have that in your blood. It should be in your blood. There's a young kid that I know, the dad, and now he's saying, oh, Saudi Arabia, you can make a lot of money. Your kids, if we'll smash it there. Your kid's fucking 10. What are you doing?
Little Arabic.
If the dad's mentality is that, what do you think he's feeding
Yeah,
the
of
kid?
course.
You're like, dude, when I was 10 years ago, it was China. Now it's Saudi. Now, what are you looking at the money for? The money, how many players stop playing because the money, that they realize they didn't love the game?
Yeah, that's
And
it.
that's where it's sad. And that's where you hear a lot of the depressing stories life after football. You got to love the game to do it. Money would be
100%.
like,
It's a byproduct. It is a
But
byproduct
sometimes I think
ultimately.
the love of the game somewhere along someone's journey gets lost from either a bad experience, a bad environment, or whatever else it is. And I think that's the thing, as you said, the agents and stuff like that. I'm not saying all agents are like that, but there is mixed messaging there. I think you need coaches, people involved, families need to try and make sure kids, teenagers still love the game because it is a job, you can't earn money. But we were speaking about an Australian boy actually who left 10 years ago. Didn't go and play at the levels you guys played at, but he's bounced around like Scandinavia, Greece, Turkey. But he's played Division 1 football across. Good career in football.
Fine.
Plenty of appearances. And we were saying, like, how many Australian boys we know go over 6 months later, they're straight back here, back in NPL, whereas this lad's literally made a career out of football who can turn around and say, I've been to all these different countries, learned different languages,
Great
different
experience.
cultures, experience. Like, still only 29 years old.
Yeah.
Thinking, yes, he can come back and be like, he didn't play with whoever he should have.
Yeah.
Premier League, you're like, mate, this guy's played professional football for 10 years. That's a proper professional football
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
He's got experience, coaches, people that we'll never meet. And we all dream, like, every footballer would love to say, I played for one professional team. These people have got multiple, man. You can't argue with
it
that.
happens in the A-League as well. They played in Europe and you look at it, they were there for a year and they played reserves.
Yeah. that's it.
Why are you coming back for? Stick it out.
Stick it out.
No, sorry, I'm stopping you. It was
No,
just
but
funny what you
I
said.
just think, it's a great conversation because, I mean, for anyone that's listening, and a lot of the stuff that I speak about, like I'm actually quite sick of talking to people because they actually don't listen.
They don't agree. I agree.
So what am I spending 30 minutes or 45 minutes explaining to you, and as soon as you walk away, you think you know better,
know
but
better.
you've actually never been there, right?
100%,
So I
man.
actually go, do what you want. Go backpacking. You'll be back. Look, you know.
But the sad thing is they'll call him arrogant.
Yeah.
But it's more.
It's just
no,
to be
it's not
honest.
arrogant. I'm just sick
Aye.
of speaking to a.
I always say to every player that's going, like, try to pick a level. Like, be the best you can be, right? So you got to put the work in.
Yep.
Without the work, you can never be the best. If you think you're just going to get away, I've seen so many really good footballers that should have had careers
Yep.
that are working on building sites now that never had a career. You know why? Because their egos were bigger than them. Because they weren't willing to put the work in to be the best that they could be. They thought, well, I'm good now. I don't have to do any extra. But the game evolves, huh?
But then,
the game,
do you think that comes back to, again, you're talking about love for the game, right? So if you love and respect the game to a certain level, the work comes in, but it doesn't seem like work. But
No,
it
it's
puts
not
in
work.
because of your attachment to it. Do you know what I mean? It's
I looked
almost a
at football
byproduct
when I
of the
was
feeling
young.
towards the game's right.
when I was young, I wasn't very good at school. All I wanted to do was be a professional footballer. Like, that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was one of the lucky ones who played first grade at 16. But was I lucky? Or was I good enough
Yeah.
to be given that opportunity? So someone like Ronnie Corrie gave me the opportunity, and another 7 of us who were all 16, 17, 18-year-olds, because he's seen and believed that we were good enough and just needed to be nurtured around senior players to actually grow.
Yep.
Now, everyone now all of a sudden thinks a 17-year-old should be playing first grade. We've spoken about where the academy teams are in the NPL.
Yep.
Like, unless they're surrounded by good senior players, they're not going to get better.
Yep.
They're going to keep making the same mistakes. They're not going to get better. I was lucky. We were lucky with the way we were brought up and the players that we were surrounded by, right? And the moves that I made because I wanted to play.
Yep.
I wasn't thinking about how much money I could make.
Where am I going to go? Where am I going to
play?
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, that was my first decision was Leicester because I thought I could play there.
Yeah. Makes
Got
sense,
there.
man.
Yes, I had problems. Didn't realise there was a 39-year-old keeper that was a gun. Like, I thought I was good, but he was 39, had all this experience. He was a gun. But then I think that was a lesson in itself to get a kick up the backside. And going to Holland was, again, another stepping stone. And I look at it throughout my whole career, it was like club, bigger club,
Yep.
the monster.
Yep.
So
Steps.
I progressed every
Yeah.
time. I didn't go here, then back here,
Yeah.
then juggle here. I actually progressed. And as
Yeah,
I
of course.
continued to prove myself and play well, and this is another thing where people don't realise, when you are at a club for 5 years, that means you're a good player.
100%.
But that means you're a good person. That means you're a dedicated person. Because if you're not, you'll see a lot of players bounce around club to club each year.
Yep.
And when you look at a player that bounces around
a
club to
palm,
club,
aye.
there's a reason he's bouncing.
And it's not the 5-6 clubs' fault.
Nah, there's a reason he's bouncing. So if you have a look at that, when you see players like Maldini, you know, that
Maldini.
his whole career.
I'm waiting for you to get to me. And don't you fucking ask me about my career after this.
But I look at like Malde, his whole carear at one club.
Yep.
You know,
Unheard of.
his whole career at one club.
Wild.
You know, Del Piero
Gerrard,
made a name at Juve. Like, there's a reason why. Because if you watch these guys train, and you've actually been their teammate, you'll understand what it takes to play at the highest level. Like, if I would have had the opportunity to see something like that, like when you play for a smaller club, and I said this to people. So when I was at Leicester, it was a really good unit, but still everyone was looking to get out. They wanted to go higher.
Yep.
When I got to Rhoda, it was a good team, top level, but everyone still wanted to get to Feyenoord, Ajax, PSV, get into the Premier League. So everyone was still on their own agenda.
Yep.
Then I went to Perugia, you know, Serie A, and you think, fuck, I'm playing in a top league, but they still want to get to Inter. They want to get to Juve. They want to get to Roma. They want to get to Milan. But then when you get to Milan and you go, holy shit, does this what the top looks like?
Yeah.
Team unity. Everyone's looked after. Everyone's on the same cause. No one wants to get out. Everyone just wants to win.
Yeah.
We're here to be the best we can and win trophies, you know. And with winning trophies and playing for a club like Milan, of course you're going to get rewarded. The best players in the world get rewarded for playing for the biggest teams in the world.
Yeah.
But, mate, people used to say, oh, yeah, but he was only a reserve keeper at Milan. Yeah? You try getting in the gates, my friend.
Fuck mate, man. Even saying that sentence,
saying
you're just a reserve keeper.
You want the best one? We went to Perth. What was it, the Premier?
Yeah.
WH. He
Yeah.
goes, oh, we were looking at it and there's only one person that has played for AC Milan, one Australian. What was his response?
I go, oh, really? You just worked that out, have you?
And I'm the only one that's ever going to play for AC Milan.
Like it's,
And she just started laughing and he was like, it's true. When
Yeah.
you think about it, it's true.
Yeah.
And it's not any AC Milan. I know I'm
No,
no,
like
it's a joke.
the AC Milan.
Yeah, it's a joke,
like,
man.
that everyone
I actually laughed. We'll get there. So we go quickly. Rhoda was 98 to 02. You won the cup. Was the second time in the club's history.
yeah. Rhoda was, like, for me, as I said, it was the building blocks to my career.
Yep.
I think I was there at the right age. I was there at the right club.
Yeah.
So I was at a club it was Ajax, PSV, Feyenoord. They were the big three, untouchable. And then there was like another group of 8 clubs. And we were one of those clubs. And seriously, 2 years in a row, we lost Champions League. On the last game of the season, we lost to a team called RKC Waalwijk. I was at Roda for 5 years. I never beat them.
Wow.
And they always played for relegation.
Wow.
And we played them 2 times, last game of the season, to get into the Champions League, and we lost both times.
Lost both.
It's
a disaster.
it's actually incredible, right?
It's a disaster.
But it was a fantastic experience. And I'll be honest with you, I always said to myself, I would never leave Holland. If this club would just invest and give us those 3-4 players that we needed to be a Champions League team, I would have stayed in Holland because it was a great club. It was a great area to live in. The competition was unreal, but they wouldn't invest. And we ended up playing, Roda played AC Milan in a UEFA Cup game.
Yeah.
I had a worldie in that match over 2 legs. We ended up losing on penalties in the San Siro. So we lost at home 1-0. We ended up beating them in the San Siro 1-0. Went to penalties. I saved 3 penalties, and my Mongoloids missed 4.
Told you he was going to come. Told you.
Talking about taking away your glory, you know what I mean? But anyway,
Fucking, you said 3 pens in San Siro?
I saved 3 pens at the San Siro.
You knocked out? Oh my God.
And we played with 10 men.
Oh, that's a signal.
It was one of those nights, they wouldn't have scored for another 3 days against me. Anyway, from there, so Milan then had me on their radar.
Yeah.
But they were full.
Yeah.
So they actually couldn't sign me, but Perugia then come in for me.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going to Perugia after that, which was another unbelievable experience.
Yeah,
so I'd just gone from, a really good club in Holland, but now I've gone to the Serie A.
Yeah.
Like, this is...
A question about that. So, obviously, 2002 it was. You finished 10th in your first season there. Luciano Gauci?
Yeah, mad.
Yeah, so that was my question around this guy.
Go on.
Mad, he's the president.
Oh, I see. Okay,
like, mad. Like,
brilliant.
Like, insane, right? So this guy just loved the game. It was like proper Italy. So it was a type of club where Daniel said before, mate, bonuses.
Yeah.
Mate, when he says that, we would play at home against Juve or against Inter or something. He'd come in and he'd say the bonus is €100,000 if you win for the team, and then, mate, at home we never lost.
Yeah.
We were so strong at home, and we had a coach called Zeljko. I don't know if you remember him. He used to wear the hat.
Nah, I don't.
Mate, mad. Like, I couldn't even understand him half the time, right? And he'd come in €100,000 bonus, €100,000 bonus. You play the game, mate. He'd come in after you've won the game, and he'd come in, and the players are all pumped. And he'd come in with the backpack, takes a backpack, and just tips the cash on the table. Tips the cash on the table.
You see the club manager.
That was that incentive, right?
Yeah.
That was old school incentive.
Yeah.
And Perugia played to stay in the league, mate. Us Champions League was stay in Serie A, don't get relegated. But we had a really good run. We won the Intertoto Cup. We played in UEFA.
Intertoto Cup.
Mate, it's incredible, right? You don't realise it, but a club like Perugia, to play 2 games a week, too much.
Yeah,
was it?
That's too many games because your squad is built
Thin.
just to stay in the league.
In the league, yeah.
And as soon as you got to get deeper into your squad and you got to back up and you got to go play teams like Nantes or you got to play Lyon away, and mate, these games suck the living daylights out of you. But these players aren't used to it. So you're not Milan or Inter or Juve where these players are used to it.
You've got the depth, and you've got 100%.
And we really paid the price for that, and we struggled. Mate, we couldn't win away from home. We couldn't buy a win away from home.
Yeah.
So we ended up then. So I was at Perugia for 5 years, and it was brilliant. Like, it was proper football. Serie A was probably the hardest league I've ever played in.
Yeah.
But the way they prepared for matches, mate, there was never a day off. Loads, mate, non-existent. Like, we trained every day.
Yeah.
Monday through to match day. If we lost with Gauci, and he thought we were in trouble, that we were going to slide down the table, mate, we lost the match. The bus was waiting for us at the stadium, and we went straight into camp. They used to call it retiro. Straight into camp. You didn't go home to your family.
After the game?
You stayed in camp for a week. training, preparing for the next match. And if you don't win the next match, my friend,
You're back again?
You're going back to camp.
Oh my God, man.
If you won, mate, it was gold because you could go home.
That's your bonus.
That's
basic.
your boat. But because the television rights were important, everything was important. It was like life or death. It really was life or death.
So on this Gauchi, I saw that he, so I said you're the South Korean striker
Yeah.
that scored the goal against Italy.
Wasn't allowed to come back.
Yeah,
He kicked him out of the club.
Because he scored against Italy?
Because he scored against Italy in the World Cup.
Yeah, kicked him out of the club.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one.
Yeah, kicked him
That's
out of the club. Wasn't allowed.
outstanding,
We had Sadi Gaddafi was one of my best mates.
Yeah.
So and he played for us at Perugia, the Colonel's son.
I was going to say that. Is it the Colonel's son,
That's
eh?
the Colonel's son, yeah.
Fucking hell.
So he was one of my best mates at Perugia. And I remember we were in pre-season training camp up in Bolzano in the mountains, and they're flogging us, mate. They're flogging us. And, you know, we're sitting down eating dinner, and, mate, you can hardly lift your arms. And I look at him and he's sitting across from me. I said, mate, seriously, you're a dickhead. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, I've got to feed the family, I've got to earn money. But you, like, what are you doing here? And he didn't respond to anything. And then dinner finishes, and I go back to my room and I get a knock on my door in the room, and, mate, his bodyguards come. He goes, Sadi wants to see you in the room. Mate, I thought that was the end of my life.
Done.
Mate, I thought that was it, you know, and he sat down and we had a chat. He said, no one's ever spoke to me like that, mate, you're honest and this and that, and we become really, really good mates.
Yeah.
And he loved the game. He loved the game. He thought he could play at that level. He was a good footballer, but athletic. To play in the Serie A, he wasn't athletically good enough to play. But that was like his escape from the real world.
Yeah.
To train and play. And, mate, I had some great times with him, like excellent times with him, and experiences that, you know, no one can buy from you.
Yeah. 100%.
So, did you ever get to meet his dad?
No, I never met the Colonel. No, I never met the Colonel.
Just KFC, that's a Colonel.
Mate, he was like, but he was scared of the Colonel, mate. I remember we were out. He was out one. We were out one night on a night out, and he got a message, and he had to go back to Libya, and mate, you could see the look on his face,
Jesus.
you know, that he had to go back.
Oh,
Yeah.
So after your 5 years, mate, it was the big boys.
Yeah, so that was an incredible move.
Water?
You know,
Sorry,
like
Daniel,
That's
that was
yours,
water
yeah.
there, by the way.
That's yours as
It
well.
was just advertising.
No, it's for
I
you.
was looking at it,
You get a hat and a water bottle.
Oh, we're coming every week. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so then we got relegated. We got relegated in a playoff match against Fiorentina, and the club was financially not in a good state at Perugia because I think he was up to some monkey business, moving money out and stuff like that. So the club was going bankrupt, and I was away with the national team playing the Confeds Cup, and I got a phone call from an agent saying, listen, I've got one of the big clubs, one of the big four clubs in Italy, they want you. And it was like, okay, fair enough. I go, you're going to tell me which club? He goes, I can't tell you which club it is. And I go, mate, please let it go. And I just like hung up on him, and he rings me back again. And he says, don't hang up, it's true. I'm going to come tomorrow to Germany, I'm going to see you. And I said, yeah, but you need to tell me which club it was. And he tells me it's AC Milan, and I thought, mate, someone's having a lend on me. I thought someone's taking the piss,
Yeah.
right? Anyway, true enough, he come the next day to Germany with a pre-contract. He said, right, we know the club's in bankruptcy, you can't do anything at the moment, but whether Perugia stays alive or whether they go bankrupt, you're coming to Milan. And that's how it was. And Perugia ended up, I had to go back to pre-season. Can you imagine? I knew Milan wanted me, and I knew I was going to Milan, but I had to go back to Perugia. I had to start pre-season with them. All I wanted to do was get out of there.
100%.
I can't tell anyone anything. It's like, mate, come on, something happened. And then Perugia went bankrupt.
Yep.
And then I ended up going to Milan.
Milan.
after
What is
that.
I'd love to know, like, how old are you at that point?
I was 32.
32, so you're a bit more mature, but like the excitement of travelling to Milan, like the time you've left Perugia, you're on your way to Milan, but you're not just fucking buzzing. Like,
Mate,
excitement.
it was
Surreal.
surreal.
Aye.
Like, I remember the first day he's driving into Milanello, and you know, when I tell people this story, mate, they had security guards with guns, like with proper live guns, not water pistols, like proper light guns. That, mate, the gate opens, you drive in, and you're still pinching yourself that, is this real? And then you walk into Milanello, and then, the first picture you see is the three Dutchmen. Rijkaard, Gullit, and Van Basten.
Well, that's the first thing you see,
That was the first picture I seen, and then you see the Champions League trophies, and as you're walking through, and at the coffee shop was there, and then you overlook the training facility, and then, players will come and say hello, and then you see a picture of Baresi and Massaro and all these players.
Who was the first person you met, player-wise?
Maldini was the first person I met.
Malda.
Yeah.
One of the boys.
First name tells you know me, Malda.
He was the first person I met at the bar there, mate, where I used to have 56 coffees a day. Yeah, it was amazing. And then you actually get there and you're still pinching yourself, and then you actually start training. And I was 32, and I thought I was good, mate. I won a Dutch Cup, got promoted at Wembley, mate. Went to the Premier League, mate. Won the Intertoto. Been playing Serie A for 5 years. Then I started training with these guys, mate. I was dog shit.
Levels.
I was like, what the hell is this? Like, I've played against these guys, but
to see them all together, I was just like,
this is not normal.
Yeah,
mate, they were animales. They were beasts, and I was not. They were here, and I was here.
You mean everything, like intensity, like
everything,
everything, communication, obviously, mate, skill,
just their power, their strength, the speed, the work ethic. Man, when I tell people I didn't have a day off for 3 months when I got to Milan, and we talk about loads. Mate, these people have no idea what loads are.
Yeah.
Mate, we used to get flogged every single day. And I remember Dida and Abiati, mate, they're just going a million miles, and I'm just clawing on, mate. I'm just like, mate, wait for me. Wait for me. And the goalkeeper coach used to say, hard work.
Be your time, be patient.
Boom, 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 slowly. And then 3 months later, we had 10 days off. And I was like, mate, some days off. And, mate, I had 10 days off. I come back like Superman.
Oh, did you, eh?
I had the power that I've never felt in my
that
body.
Compensation of everything coming
and
through?
he just looked at me the eye and he goes,
He's back.
I told you.
Hard work always pays off. And that was something that I actually learned, that it just works. You just put the effort in, you just give 100%, and that 1%. That 1% today, that 1% tomorrow, that 1% next day, you get closer. I played 2 games my first year at Milan.
Yeah.
2 games. But the next year is when I played a lot of matches.
Yeah. Who's your debut against?
So I played a cup game against Brescia. Oh, now you're asking me a lot. Cup game against Brescia, competition game, I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
Like, I actually don't even know who I played my first competition match for Milan. But after that, mate, I just got stronger, and I was just a part of the team, and I could keep up after that, and I could see, like, my body was transforming at 32. And then you remember the old Milan, like, there was players 37, like Cafu was an animal.
He's a freak, man.
Mate, I looked at, obviously, the squads.
Don't even go there.
And it's honestly, like, I was laughing, literally laughing in front of the laptop by myself, laughing at the list of names.
No, it was a who's who of football.
It was like a dream team.
It was the who's who of football at that period, that 5 years that I spent there.
Yeah.
There was every big name played for Milan.
Who's your standout when you first arrived?
Beckham.
Ronaldinho.
When I first got there, there was Maldini was one that I knew, right? That I knew that you'd watch. But then, like Yapstam.
He was a freak,
Yappy was unbelievable. I'd never seen anything. Clarence Seedorf was there.
He's a joke, man.
Pirlo was obviously...
Pirlo, he was the coldest person you've ever seen on a football field. Like, nothing fazed him. Like, nothing. He'd just walk around like Droopy the dog. Give me the ball. 3 players on his... Just give me the ball. And he'd just find a way out of it. Like, I remember one of the first games I played, someone gave me a back pass. I took a touch, and Maldo was screaming for the ball, and I thought there was too much pressure on him, so I knocked it long. Mate, he lost it at me.
Yeah.
He says, when I call for the ball, give me the ball. All right. Sorry. Next ball I get, I was a bit scared. He's calling for it. And when you ping one of those passes where you go, oh, shit, mate, I've just belted this at him, mate. This is going to be Barney Rubble. Mate, he just took it in his stride. And off you go. I go, this is the level where like what they did on the ball, but their power, their running power, like Gattuso was an anomaly.
Yeah.
Gattuso and Kaká broke record on record every week that they had to do running, specific work, endurance work. They just they just pushed each other to be the best.
Yeah.
And that was the whole team, like there wasn't a player in there that didn't train 100%.
That was obviously 100% on the pitch. Off the pitch, was it partying 100%?
Mate, we were top off the field.
Aye.
It was like Champions League off the field.
We were Champions League.
Who was like the standout lads off the pitch?
All of them, man.
Oh, were they?
To be fair, all of them. It was a real like group thing. But then when Ronaldo come later, and then Ronaldinho come later, and like Beckham come a year. Beckham was a cracker. He loved the night out. He loved the night out, right? But he'd love the massage. Like, seriously, he'd get massage every day. And I used to take the piss out of him. I said, mate, any more massages are going to rub the tattoos off you. Like, But it was just that type of group, Like, I remember one time, Inzaghi was a pest. He was a proper pest. And Jaap Stam was like typical Dutchie, Jappie was cool until he lost his shit.
Yeah.
And people was taking the piss out of him constantly. And Yuppie just clicked and picked him up, folded him, and put him in the washing basket. But broke 2 of his ribs.
Oh, fuck.
And broke 2 of his ribs. And Ancelotti was fuming. He was fuming at Yuppie. And Yuppie, typical Yuppie, goes, I told him. I warned him. Like, no remorse. Mate, I warned him. I told him, stop. He didn't. I folded him, put him in the basket, broke 2 of his.
You can actually envision it like a movie. Like you can see that big Dutch.
Oh, mate. Yeah.
They just have a lot of like big, obviously nights out and all that, but AC Milan style chat, like probably one of the top teams in the world. What was that? What's a night out with AC Milan look like?
So there was a place in Milan called Hollywood, and that's where everyone went. But we knew the owner, so we knew the owner, and it was just after we won, we'd go. First, we went to the restaurant. It was like Gattuso and Abbiati had a restaurant, so we'd go to the restaurant, and then after that, we went to the Hollywood. But let me tell you, they were good off the park as well. Right. But we didn't train till the afternoon. So, and because as I said to you, if you sleep in the afternoon, you've played a match, the adrenaline's. You're not sleeping, they say, well, what's the point of going home and not sleeping? We might as well go out and
not sleep
and do what my father do what my father says. Join yourself. Join yourself. So that was, and it was a special time because we won a lot of things.
Champions League.
Yeah, we won the Super Cup, we won the World Club Challenge.
Celtic fans? How was Celtic Park?
Celtic Park was brilliant. Dressing rooms got to be the 2 worst dressing rooms were Old Trafford and Parkhead.
Yeah,
like what was the Celtic score like?
Mate, it was minging.
Celtic.
That was Scott McDonald scored last minute. That one.
I think Celtic.
We knocked them out. The year we won it, we beat them 1-0 at our ground.
You won both games.
No, we drew 0-0 the first game.
So
Kaká scored extra time.
0-0 at Parkhead, and then Celtic won 1-0 at Parkhead, and you won both games at the San Siro.
Yeah, but we played him in the quarters. We played him in the quarters. In the first game, I played the first game. So the year we won the Champions League, I can't remember exactly. It was 12 games, but I played more than half of the games.
Yeah.
We played Celtic. We drew 0-0 there, and we won. We won 1-0 at San Siro in extra time, and we were dog shit.
And Neil Lennon was Neil Lennon playing?
Yeah.
He ran away from Kaká. Ran away from him.
Yeah. We were horrendous that period. But as soon as we won that game, everything changed. It was like, here we go. This is us. The Champions League, the music. Yeah, these players were just different level. When that Champions League music come up, we could be playing Catania on the weekend and be absolute rubbish, and then we play Tuesday night, Wednesday night Champions League and the music, and it'd be like, woof.
Yeah, I can imagine, man.
And it was like, the night before, you could watch the training sessions, and I'd sit back and like I'm watching the training. I go, man, we ain't getting beat tomorrow.
Yeah,
like there's not a chance in the world we're getting beat tomorrow.
It's funny that because even as a fan, the Champions League music is like goosebumps. Do Do you know that when you're in the stadium, it's wild, man. So
how was Ancelotti?
there,
Like obviously we know he's a class gaffer, but what's like Ancelotti as a gaffer? Because I've heard stories about him off the pitch, like being one of the boys as
He's
well.
a legend.
I've heard that as well.
Yeah, just his whole style was different. Like like the whole time that I was at Milan, he only screamed at us once, like where he was really pissed off with us. We had I remember we had 3 days off, and everyone just couldn't wait for these 3 days off. But we had to play one game against Lugano, a second division Swiss team, in a friendly match, and we lost. We lost, and he was fuming at us, mate. That was the only time I've ever seen him be angry. But mate, we're thinking about the 3 days, mate. We're going to Sardinia, mate. We're Ibiza, mate. We're out of here, you know. But he was very calm. Yeah. Like he rectified every problem with a simple conversation. Mate, you know, the game would be 0-0. We should have been like, we're playing shit house, and he'd come in and say, Clarence, you come here. Ricky, to Kaká. Ricky, you go here. Pirlo, look for this ball. And he's always chewing his chewing gum. So his ball in behind, we score. And he was very calm. Yeah. Very, very calm. And he was all about possession. Keep the ball, move up the field together. Yeah. You know, and that was his style. And, you know, his training sessions were very simple. The players always knew he'd come down, sit down, and sit in between us and say to Nesta, okay, Ale, what are we doing today for training? And the players always knew. We knew the training would look like this, and Nesta would say, we're going to do this first, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. And he said, close. Because it was always the same. Yep. That's why, like, Pirlo would get the ball facing that way, would take a touch and just go boof to the other side. And people thought, oh, what, he's got eyes in the back of his head. No, it's because we did pattern play over and over and over and over again.
I could ask you about a billion questions.
I know.
I'm ready to leave just quietly, man. You're not going to come to me.
The only other question I wanted to ask on a million questions, but obviously for the sake of time, was how did you celebrate Champions League winning the Champions League?
Mate, 3 days on the piss.
Brilliant.
Like 3 days on the piss.
Where'd you go? Was it in Italy?
It was a drinkathon. So we played in Greece. We started that night. We didn't stop. And then in the morning we got on the bus and Ronaldo had a bottle of water and he was drinking this bottle of water and I'm going, mate, he's not drinking water. Impossible, right? And open it up. Yeah, it's full of vodka. Mate, he was still going. And then we got to Malpensa. And as we got to the airport, it is so surreal, you know, like you walk out of that plane and we got the trophy. And you're walking out, Malda and Ancelotti are the first two out and the supporters are all at the airport. And then we went back to Milanello. We got changed and then we got on a bus to do the city tour. Yeah. Mate, it was insane. The streets were just full. And it was just a drink-a-thon for 3 days. And then I actually flew back to Australia. I don't even recall the flight back to Australia. I actually don't recall the flight back to Australia. I slept the whole flight. Like I had no idea where I was. Landed in Australia. I was still jet lagged. I was still drunk probably. I don't know. But yeah, it was a great 3 days. The one thing that team did do is celebrate a good win.
You have to.
Yeah.
You don't win things all the time, man.
Part of the environment.
Yeah.
Mate, we won the World Club Challenge in Japan. And I used to tell the boys, because a lot of boys hadn't been to Japan before, but because I'd been with the national team before, I knew the place was Roppongi. So right. we had to win. So when we won that, the whole thing for the next 10 days was, man, we're going to Roppongi, you know. And when we won the final, I think we beat Boca Juniors 4-2. We actually give them a touch-up. Mate, the nights out were gold. Oh, yeah. Like
was there any mad bastards on the night out? Any mad characters?
They're all mad.
Oh,
they're all mad, mate. It was like the Italians. When I got to Italy, I thought it was this in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. This really safe and you know everyone was nice and mild. Mate, they're mad. they're actually mad. Mate, everyone's tattooed up from here to there. Mate, I got the shock of my life when I got to Italy. Like you know, like. It was just a different world, but all the players just loved the night out. It was like a release.
Yeah, of course.
You know, from all the pressure.
And you're working so hard as well, man. Like, as you say, you don't get many days off, so it's like you go. You need something.
But when you win, because the whole team was built about winning, right? Yeah. But when we didn't win, let me tell you, mate, you weren't going out.
Depressed.
We drew with Catania at home, and I went to go get a coffee down at the local, in my local area where I lived.
Abuse.
The barman No coffee for you.
Oh, really?
Fuck's
No
sake.
coffee for you.
You'll drop it. You'll drop it.
What the hell? I got back to where I was living, and where I was living, a lot of the boys were living. Like Ancelotti was living where I was, Inzaghi, Gattuso, Ambrosini was living there, and I said, mate, I just went down to Gallarate to get a coffee. He goes, man, where are you going? Don't go anywhere, mate. Stay at home. If we don't win, don't go out.
Wow.
Yeah, don't
That's
go
wild,
out if we
man.
don't win.
Wild.
Yeah.
So just like as Gary said, we could ask a million questions, right? You went from AC Milan, you finished in Greece.
Yeah.
At Kavala.
Yeah, that was a funny one as well. Mate, I seem to find all these presidents that are mad. You know, like, so I retired I finished at Milan because I got injured.
Yep.
I actually got injured and I actually couldn't train 100%. And I couldn't compare. I could see, mate, they were going that way and I was going backwards because I hurt my knee. I couldn't get up properly. I had to change the way I was getting up. I was too old. I was too old to change all this. And I just said, mate, that'll do me. And then I was in Croatia on holiday and, mate, I was adamant. I'd had enough. Like, you know, I was done. And this guy was a pest. Like, honestly, he was an absolute pest. And they just got promoted from the second division in Greece into the first division in the Super League in Greece and was ringing me constantly, 10 times a day. And I said, mate, I'm retired. I don't want to play. I don't want to play. And I said, how am I going to... He's a pest. I'm just going to throw out some stupid number and he won't call me back. And he said, okay. Yeah, but what do I do now? I go, what do I do now? So I flew to Athens, and I said to him, right, you got to have all the money. Everything's got to be there when I land. And I went there with my agent. Mate, he put all the money in his bag, and he flew back to Italy. I stayed there for 3 months, played for 3 months. To be fair, we were coming fourth.
Okay.
We were flying, but I was the missing jigsaw puzzle. He needed a big name to sort of draw other players.
Yeah.
And that's actually what happened. As soon as I agreed to come,
People signed.
he ended up signing other players, and we actually had a decent team that we were sitting in a good place on the table. And then I could see was going to get a bit naughty. Like we got to December, I could see things were going to get a bit naughty with what was going to happen. And I just said, mate, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
Done.
And then, did you give someone the money back?
No.
It was gone already, man.
He got what he had to get out of me.
So obviously, amongst that, there were 54 caps for Australia.
Yep.
How was it, obviously, to represent your country?
Yeah, the national team was another, like, it was a special bond.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we talk, like, I got 54 caps in an age where we played 5 games a
goalkeepers
year.
as well, man.
I mean, your goalkeepers are...
You know what I mean?
Creme de la
Like,
creme.
in an era where there was 4 or 5 top keepers, right? And we never played enough matches. And we all joke about it to ourselves. We say, imagine if we played now as many games as these boys play. Maybe we'd all had 200 caps and stuff like that. But it was a special bond. It was a special team.
Yeah.
Like, it was like it was my family.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, there was 2 special teams that I played for. One was that Socceroo's team, and one was that Milan team.
Yep.
Like you actually feel what a family feels like in a sporting environment where you think everyone's out for themselves.
Yep.
And I think the just rewards that we got for qualifying was God saying these boys deserve it. After the heartache that they've been through, you know, in failing before.
It was 32 years.
Yeah. But we had such difficult runs. Like I told you, we played 5-6 games. Our whole route to the World Cup was playing the 4th best team in South America. Like, come on. Come on, man. What a stitch up.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, it was brilliant. And, you know, we've done a great job there, and the game's just gone forward from there, right? It probably hasn't gone to the level that we all expected it to go to after finally qualifying, but the game's changed as well. You know, we're in Asia now. It's a different route, more games, more money involved in the game. It's, you know, as we say, we still love the game.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably a lot of people out there that are actually running the game. Do they actually love the game, or is it about how much money we can put into the game, how much we can make out of the game?
So, again, wrapping up quick here, we'll look at, you've been involved in the coaching side of it, Sydney FC, Wanderers, you've been in Melbourne as well.
Melbourne City.
And then you've also done the Bulls and Sydney United. Nothing at the moment?
No, I've got nothing. I've got
Head of football,
Head of football and alliance,
now
yeah.
than
I've got more work.
I mean,
now.
in terms of a head coaching type
Not
thing.
in terms of a head coaching role. I'd only go back into head coaching role if I thought it was a gig that I thought that suited me.
Yep.
Like I wouldn't go back into it now for the sake of doing it. If it was something that I thought I could actually win,
Yep.
be at a club where I can win or achieve something, then I would definitely look at it. But where I'm at now, headspace and life, I wouldn't change anything now unless it was something really important.
So you're head of football into Lions.
Yeah, head of football into Lions, work with Daniel at CBFI.
Yep.
With the Goalkeeper Academy there. I'm head of Scots College.
Yep.
So it's more than enough to
Oh,
keep
plenty,
me busy.
man. It's
He has to
plenty.
figure out tomorrow where am I going, the day after where am I going,
Yeah.
which location is that?
Yeah, so
It's
I actually
enjoyable.
really,
Aye.
I think what happens in life, you get to a point where you say, like, I'm content.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really happy giving back. I'm really happy doing the jobs that I'm actually doing. And do I really need stress for something that I actually don't really need stress for?
Yeah, of course.
You know, if you're going to do a role, you got to get looked after properly, and you got to see an end product. And I still want to win.
Yeah.
You know,
That'll never go.
mate, I want to win.
Yeah.
I actually want to win. I don't want to be in a place where I'm developing this or I know I want to win.
Yeah.
I want to win.
I'm just going to move on to Daniel. I just looked at the first sentence, Chad. It says Marconi Stallions to Dynamo Zagreb. What a fucking move that is. Some agent, that.
Not really, yeah. Stitched up. No, I was playing for Macedonia. That's why.
Before we go there, though, tell us about your youth and your kind of football upbringing here in
I
Australia.
started playing when I was 9.
Yep.
My dad said it's either karate or soccer because we moved into a new area.
Yep.
So Marion for 2 years, just park soccer. Enjoyed it. Then rep started 11s, 12s, 13s at Blacktown Demons, it was called.
Yep.
Then I got cut. And then somehow my mum found a trial at Marconi, just me and another bloke. Was there from 14s to 15s, 16s, 18s, then 20s, which was reserves. And in the last year, I started playing for Macedonia under 19s. So it was a 1987 generation. I'm 88, so I was playing a year up. Had a good trial. And then they called me back for the Euro qualifiers. Like, it was the last qualifier before making the under 19s Euro. And we played in Croatia, Samobor. Versus Croatia, Israel, and Portugal, from memory. I scored in the first 5 minutes versus Croatia, funny enough.
You
My
scored?
dad-
You scored?
yeah.
Oh, very class.
I was playing right back. So back then, I played a back three.
Yep.
So I was playing in my youth attacking midfielder. But because I used to run up and down and probably wasn't technically that good, put me fullback, and I was just a pit bull. So I would just run up and down. He was a stopper back then.
Yeah.
Then transferred into a right back, which I was like, all right. Didn't look into it, didn't care, just wanted to play football.
Yeah.
Then I got called up for Macedonia, did well. Agent called, said it was either a club called Hajduk or Dinamo. I didn't know
Split,
who
yeah.
either were.
Yeah.
My dad knew, and I didn't know. I thought I knew Macedonian. I did not know Macedonian that well, even playing for the national team. So then go to Croatia. Mate, dog shit. I was got called on a Friday, jumped on a flight on Sunday, had a trial game on Wednesday.
Oi.
So flew in on Monday. I think they played versus Arsenal in the Champions League. They had Eduardo da Silva, Luka Modric was there. I had a friendly, it was a friendly on a Wednesday or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Mate, I fell asleep on the bus. I was jet lagged.
Oh, I bet you were, eh?
Caca.
See,
And
before we go on any further, you obviously North Macedonia under 19s.
it was Macedonia at the time.
Macedonia, sorry,
It was
sorry.
politically correct,
Yeah.
North Macedonia,
Yeah.
but it was Macedonia at the time.
So, was that always your intention? Like, so obviously that you find, but
I had no options.
Yeah, okay.
I was never in the AIS.
Yeah.
I was never in Football New South Wales. I was never a rep.
Yep.
I was captain on Marconi as well.
Yep.
15. I was never. I think I went to one trial that they called me to. I think out of the 23 players, they kept 21. I was one of the ones that didn't make it. That's the closest I got to any elite rep. I think it was Football New South Wales or something.
Yeah.
Not school soccer, nothing. I just wanted to play.
Yeah,
Never
brilliant.
got called to train with the first. Even when I was playing for Macedonia, I think Bomber was the coach at Marconi. Never got called to train with the first team, which
Oh, really?
I felt bloody hell, like
I'm doing well.
I'm not even in, like, no one was even in the Joeys at the time or anything like that. So I was
Yeah.
like, shit, like I'm just getting looked over. And it just came about and it was like, all right, let's figure it out. Let's give it a go.
See, that's class.
This is 2006.
Did your parents, like, did they reach out to the Football Association, or how did it
The
kind of
only
come
time
about?
I heard, so I was in Croatia for a year.
Yeah.
In Romania, in Dinamo Zagreb for a year. But because you're in the top youth system, I got offered, to not go into too much detail, I got into another club called Međimurje, which was mid-table first division, good club, a lot of the older boys. So for me, it was like you said, take a step back, get to play. And then I get a phone call. I get a fax. The club gets a fax from the States. So there's a break for winter. And a fax from Football Australia. The club calls me. So I learnt Croatian, Pulgarski, Zagreb dialect. So I learnt the language, which I had no idea of. Go to Međimurje, it's a whole different dialect. It's absolutely like a different country.
Language, yeah.
And they go, what is this? And it was a fax with FFA. I'm like, oh, getting called up for the Socceroos or something, you know? And they go, you owe €135,000.
What?
Training compensation. The club had to pay because it was my first professional club. And I went, and they just looked at me. They're like, rip up your contract. And I was only there for a couple of months. But when I got there, funny enough, the captain was the right back and he had played in the Bundesliga for like 10 years. And it was about at the late 30s. So I was like, being a young kid, all right, he's at the end of his career. He's the captain of the club. Got nothing else on the table. I'll take it. So it was a year contract plus 1 year option. I knocked him off. So when that fax came, I started playing regularly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was on the bench. So he was pretty much, I'm done. This young kid's going to run like a donkey. I'm done. You know, like he played Bundesliga. He had a great career, this bloke. And then that comes and they're ready to tear it up. And I went, look, I'm going back to Australia in 2 weeks because it was the winter break. And told my dad, spoke to an agent, was Tony Rallis. At the time, he wasn't in the game that much, but he and his business partner was Brett Emerton's agent, so a solicitor. They somehow sorted it out, and that was the only time I've heard of, Australia had heard or contacted me in any sort up until 2013. So that was 2007. So what was that, 6 years?
Yeah, 6 years.
The next time they called, they go, mate, who are you? It's only you and Mark Schwartz are playing in the Champions League. Like, who are you? And I went, just a kid from Blacktown, man. Like,
That's fucking interesting, man.
I think there was a whole thing of a lot of Socceroos losing a lot of players that are born in Australia, going out on their own, and they're not picking them and getting picked up by XYZ. But I was really representing Macedonia first team for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So they overlooked me.
Missed the boat, yeah.
Which I said I don't care because, again, I do it for the love of the game.
Who's your debut with Macedonia against what country?
I got called. He'll know this, man. You know John Toshak?
Oh, I don't know.
So I was playing in the juniors, so 19s, my older generation, my generation. 21s, older generation, my generation. And I was still staying in Croatia. I went to Šibenik. And then that first year, I was overage, so I wasn't representing anything. And now playing for Macedonia kept me in Europe because I'm still... Mate, I didn't get paid for 12 months, never got paid for 3 months. Professional. This is my 5th year professional. Money will come and go. I want to play and give this a crack. And I kept going. I was 23. And the national team coach had changed, which was John Toshak. He wouldn't know who I am. I got a call up.
John Toshak was the Macedonia gaffer.
He was the Macedonian gaffer.
I didn't know that.
So all I found out was, and back then, I think I didn't have an iPhone, couldn't afford an iPhone, so I didn't know shit. Back then was just Kladionica, which was sport bet. That's as much as you know about football. What you watch on TV, which is all day, every day football when it comes weekend. Didn't know much. I just said he was a Real Madrid coach and a Liverpool legend. And I go, what the fuck's he doing being the coach of Macedonia, of all things? He lived in Monaco as well. So anyway, I got the call up, which was like, great. And I knew how to speak Macedonian, knew how to differentiate Croatia and Macedonia, but I couldn't read that well. So a newspaper comes, I'm trying to find the translate, but back then it wasn't like what you have now. And my mum used to tell me things. So she goes, oh, you're playing, it's the start of the Euro qualifiers, Russia's in your group, Belgium, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, sweet, it's surreal. Like, you're just there for training, you're there, we'll figure it out. And I only knew 2 players, Popov, who was at Dinamo Kiev, Noveski, which was in Bundesliga in Mainz, and Goran Pandev. So that's 3.
Pandev is a joke.
That's
man.
all I knew.
He was unbelievable.
There was a few young players that were 21s, that were a year older, that were there. So I'm like, okay, I've got some security because I know someone here. And my mum goes, oh, they said in the paper there's 2 players they're not calling to go to Russia. We're playing Russia in Moscow. She goes, are you? What's the go? I go, Mum, I only know 3 players. We're doing shadow play and I'm in their team. So I think I'm starting. She goes, so you going to Russia? I go, I think I'm starting going off this. Now Tosha just gave me a go. He just went, the national team's up to shit. We're in the Euros, we're in the Euro qualifier. Let's give this kid a go. And didn't know him from a bar of soap. Luckily, he spoke English, so I spoke English. I can help translate, but he was very old school Welsh gospodin. You know, gospodin is like a gentleman, right? He was never like, he'll speak to you like Ancelotti now would be back then, because he was a god, right? And you're like, you know, Macedonians are Macedonians. They don't appreciate Balkans. They don't appreciate anyone that's made it. He was a Real Madrid coach. I'm like, jaw dropped. Gave me a chance, and mate, I'm starting in Moscow versus Russia. I'm in a club that can barely not fit. There was barely about 1,000 people per game. Division 1. Went there was 40,000. I can't remember which stadium. Probably Dinamo Stadium, the synthetic. And I go and I see the team sheet. And I'm like, oh, I'm playing like that's mad. And I see Russia's team sheet. Okay, so who's on the left? And I look, Arshavin.
Oh, no.
He's at Arsenal, isn't he? Yeah, Danny, good luck, man. But you know what? It was a test. It was like, you know what? Don't even look into it. Like, I found out on the day. Like, it was not like,
not to think about
looking
it.
forward to it. It was more like what he would say. You're just in it. And if you're in it, you might as well give it a crack. And it's like mad. And then I look at the left back. I'm like, oh, Zhirkov. He plays for Chelsea. I'm like, yep. Danny's going to be a good day today, brother. And
How'd you go?
I actually did very well.
Oh, good.
Arshavin unfortunately scored the only goal of the game, but I marked him. You know, it was a throw-in from our end, counter-attack. I went forward. You conceded a goal, but I did well for him to continuously call me up, and he kept calling me up, and I was in a club that was borderline, you know, Croatia is. Didn't get paid for 12 months. It's Kaka, there was match fixing. There was all these stuff that happened. And you're like, mate, let's give it a crack.
So was that the performances, obviously, for the national team, what then led to Steaua Bucharest?
That's a funny one. Steaua, so we're playing against Portugal. Was it Portugal? We're playing against someone. I can't remember who. It was, you know, at the end of the season. You just want to do these friendlies and go on holidays. But
you know what it's like, Chaz.
Oh, yeah, just them games.
That's how it was. It's like, far out. You finish the season, you got 2 more friendly games, international, like, you have to play.
Yeah.
You're like, just let me go on holidays
And you're
for
like,
10
please
days.
leave me alone.
Yeah. Like, we played Portugal. I didn't care whether I played or it was Portugal. And it was like, you're going to play against Ronaldo. Mate, I want to go on holiday. And then I find out on the day he's not going to play me. He's going to play another kid. Because there was another agent or whatever it is. I'm like, whatever. Even though I'm clubless, I just needed a break from football. So I come on. So the funny thing is I'm sitting on the bench. I'm like, fuck, this game better hurry up. And then I look, this dark kid walking across. And I'm like, who the hell's that? And I went, oh, that's Nani.
Nani.
And I go, oh, that's Charisma behind me. Oh, Charisma, bravo. I go, can this game finish? And then coach said, go warm up. And I'm like, well, I'm going on when these guys are going. But that was a...
Sink or swim.
Mind you, my contract ended, so I've got no club. But in your mind, you're like, it'll happen. You persist, something will happen. I'm here. I'm at a stage. Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I found out later the general manager of Steaua was supposed to go to that game. But he didn't end up going because the owner said, I'm not paying for you to go and party. Not to go watch a player. Because I was free. It was perfect. He'd end up coming. The break's over. I'm clubless. A club from Ukraine calls. I go and see them at pre-season. In that time, another club from Ukraine were interested. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to leave here, go over here. Because even they found out and they stopped training me because they found out a bigger club wants me. They offered me something, but it was at the time, it was the Ukrainian and Polish, the Euros. So all the translators were there. Even the club's translators. So I'm speaking to people that don't know any English.
Yeah.
And I have no idea of any
Ukrainian.
The agents weren't even there. The money's there, that's as much as I understand. And the goalkeeper was a Macedonian, which could kind of help me translate. But you don't know anything. And I'm in the mountains in Poland somewhere doing pre-season camp. And you're like,
Stinking.
what? See the memories? El Caca?
Oh, that's yucky poo.
It's yucky. And, mate, a few days in, and then, funny enough, I found out in the contract, it had like another sum, or it had 0 or something like that. And it was 3 important words, if you play.
Oh, fuck.
But they didn't tell me, and no one told me. And I was like, this doesn't sound right.
So you're getting nothing
So
if
you're
you don't
getting
play?
the pay if you play.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then eventually even the goalkeeper told me, like, you know, if you don't play, you're not getting paid. You get your €500 a month, which is what you're earning on books.
Mm-hmm.
The rest, in the contract, they're even in the negotiation from translating, they're like, we have a guy from Serbia that you can speak to that can get your money out of the country. I'm like, that's in the contract? Like, what the fuck is going on? And now, I haven't been paid in a year,
That's
but this is
wild.
a bit too, you know? And then, funny enough, that had happened, and I said, you know what? I can't have that. And I was getting the most paid from the club. Like, it was a very good amount, like appreciation, but it was more like, I need to get out of Croatia because
That's wild, man.
unless you're in Dinamo or Hajduk, don't even bother.
Is that still the case?
There's Rijeka now as well.
Dinamo, Hajduk, Rijeka, Osijek,
Yeah,
Osijek
there's
have been
4,
there, okay.
but Osijek comes and goes.
Lokomotiva.
Yeah, but Lokomotiva is the second Dinamo team. Is it still like
Not
that?
anymore like
Not
that,
anymore?
but they're okay.
So 6
They're
years in
okay.
Croatia, I'm like, mate, I'm not getting paid anyway, but look where I'm at. Hopefully something will happen. And then, funny enough, I had an agent that kept messaging me from February. This is June. On Facebook. I didn't give him my number. I said, man, fuck off. Like, this is Romania. I know where it is on the map. That's as much as I know. Kept messaging. And then I told the club, we're in Poland. This is how bad the
So
translation was.
hang on. Are you with the Ukrainian club just now in
Yeah.
Poland?
I'm in the Ukrainian club still.
Yeah, okay.
And I said, look, if you don't change this
Yeah.
by tomorrow midday, my dad said, do this, see if they call your bluff. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Mate, this is Saturday. Sunday, 11 o'clock, I'm shitting bricks. There's another hour. The coach calls me in and says, apparently, like, trying to figure out, your agent said this to go here. Like, it was just shambolical of how this translation was happening, and they're trying to find their translators that are at the Euros.
So this is basically a mistranslation.
This is just Ukrainian and a Macedonian trying to speak English. And that's how it was. And I didn't have the right representation or whatever it was. So I go, okay. I said, tomorrow at 12 o'clock, contract's not fixed. They go, we'll give you half. No, I'm leaving. I get a Facebook message at 11 o'clock. And Facebook back then, like, we didn't have internet, so it was only Wi-Fi in the hotel and at the reception, not even in the rooms, in the reception. You're in pre-season camp. And mate, get this message. I get the offer from Steaua Bucharest. So he goes, they're interested. I go, yeah. When you send me an offer, I'll believe it. He goes, the club's actually going from Austria. They did the first pre-season camp. They're on a plane to Bucharest. They will send you when they land, the general manager. I go, I'll believe it when I see it. But they all thought I was in Macedonia. I didn't tell them that I was with another club. So they go, I go, when I see the tickets being sent, I'll believe it. I'll jump on a flight. They did a Skopje to Vienna, Vienna to Bucharest. I'm in fucking Poland.
You're in Poland?
3 hours out of Warsaw in Warsaw. Mate, the next morning, 3 a.m., get a taxi. Well, my dad was paying, so get a taxi, go to the Warsaw, get a flight to Vienna. My flight from Vienna to Bucharest was 7 at night. This was 9 in the morning. So I'm there in Vienna. I'd lost about 5 kilos because just all the traveling, running, don't know what's going on in life.
Stress, yeah.
24, don't have a cent to my name. I'm using my dad to pay for this shit.
fair play to you, mate. For
And you know what?
resiliency,
He was,
man.
like anything, you need help.
Aye.
But I've got money, but it's owing. I was registering to go to court in UEFA to get my money from the club. So I've got nothing.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, how much do you really want it? Are you
Yeah,
happy to be
fair
a
play, man.
24-year-old with no money in your pocket, but playing 5 years professional and playing for the national team? So
that's
I said,
incredible, man.
I'll give it a go. Anyway, I ended up going to Bucharest, and it was an hour dinner that we were supposed to do with the club manager, general manager, and the press director. They were there for 3-4 hours, and it was just like this talking shit. And they signed me off that.
Yeah.
And they go,
But I don't know
Yeah.
like at that point, but I remember in the olden days European Cup, Steaua Bucharest was a big club.
so
Big
they
club.
funded
I'm
it.
asking-
Still a big
So I'm
club.
serious, that's what I'm
Still a
asking. Is it still the
big
same
club.
case?
Still a big
Aye, yeah.
So, but I had no idea. So when the offer came, and I remember I called my dad, who's the only one that will know, he goes, the Ukrainians got good money, but it's dodgy as fuck. But if you're playing, you're cheering. You're very, very good, mate. You chasing money, or do you want potentially like to be what you want to be in football, which is tick those boxes off? And I go, mate, who are these? And he goes, dickhead, go there.
Okay.
So he pretty much told me, like, you want money or do you want football? And I go, mate, always football. Went there, and he knew from back in the old days that Steaua Bucharest was huge. They beat Barcelona in the final. The goalkeeper saved 4 penalties. He's the president of the club now. So all this stuff.
His Mongoloids
I was going to say that.
Mongoloids obviously scored.
So funny enough, with all that, it was like, okay, let's figure this out. And I remember going, and this is where I know probably one of your stories is. We go to the medical took about 7 hours. I've got a bone sticking out of my knee. That took 3 hours of MRIs because they were trying to break it because they thought I was injured. But that's just a defect I had as a kid.
Always had.
You know how bad the medical tests are. They're checking your nose, your eyes, your ears, your teeth, your,
really,
your
extensive?
tonsils. It's insurance, mate. They don't want anyone that's not injured.
It's an investment.
So this knee is like, whatever it is. Anyway, the next day we fly to Vienna. So I've been in Bucharest for 24 hours. Okay, I'm settled. They do an announcement. I train with the team, haven't eaten in a whole day. We fly out the next day to Vienna, and the coach I met at the owner's palace. This bloke was just filthy loaded and a proper peasant, right? Like, didn't give a shit. Ended up going to jail because of stupidity. They found him €1 million in the boot of his car to give to a club to win a game.
Oh,
just silly stuff. When you have too much money, too much time on your hands, right? Anyway, and I met the coach, who was 37, my age now. First time gig. They hadn't won in 8 years. Young players. They gave me a 6-month plus a potential 18-month contract if I fulfilled requirements, which was if I played 10 of the 20 games in the first half of the season. So 3 years guaranteed, 6 months plus 18 months here. I chose that.
Yeah.
Instead of the guaranteed 3 years, here.
Yep.
So you know what? If I'm going to bet something, I'm betting on myself.
Yep.
Mate, we get to Austria. First day, I'm chucking up pre-season. I used to run like a dog. So I was, that part there, you need to do more, I'll throw up, I'll keep running. So I wasn't technically that good, but I was a dog.
What course, eh?
I knew my attributes, and that's what I do with a smile on my face. So they thought I wasn't quite right because I'm always smiling and I'm sweating bullets, right? After day 2, and this is, you know, when you have those remembering, they put me in a game. Ball's coming from, I don't know who we played against, long ball, and I can see there's a right back, there's a left winger coming close. Instead of stopping the ball, if I have a shit touch, counter, I clear it. Mother coach.
Lost it.
He lost it at me. In Romania, which I don't know. He played in Bundesliga for 10 years as well. And he said, son, you have no idea where the fuck you are. And I went, he goes, I can see that. Wait till we get back to Bucharest.
Oh,
he played right back. This bloke for 2 years did not tell me what to do. He goes, if you're in a big club, you'll figure it out. If not, we'll get rid of you. This is my first week at the club. And I go, right, yeah. We get back. We have a friendly game before the season started, 20,000 at the stadium. Friendly game, some Bulgarian team. And he goes, I told you, you got no fucking idea where you are. And that's all he said to me. First 3 games, I didn't play. He goes, you're not ready.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My first game was a Europa League qualifier.
Fuck.
Random.
Yeah.
Wait, that is a mental story.
It's worse, but we didn't have that much time. That was the start.
That's
that
a
was the
mental
start of a
story,
big
but-
club, of being in mediocre, small clubs in Croatia, of just give it a go. So that's why
Big club.
No, but to be...
big.
How many people wouldn't have got to that point? Even though you are, obviously, you said there's more, but even to the point you've explained to, so many people went like, fuck this. I've got no money, I'm up the road. They're fucking me about, I'm up the road. I'm homesick, I'm up the road.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in Dinamo
Fucking unbelievable, man.
Mamic used to come to... Mamic is the head of Dinamo Zagreb, or was. He used to come to Melbourne and get 3 players. And I remember because I learned how to read. So I was reading it. 3 Melbourne players coming to Dinamo Zagreb. They left after 3 weeks because they were homesick.
Exactly.
And here I am, here for a year. I'm like, give me that opportunity.
Do you know
Because
something?
the coach brought me in. The coach was 22-0. 22 wins and 0. Mamic didn't like him. He drew his first game. They sacked him.
Do you know, just obviously backing off what he said, the fact that you've gone there and spent the time to learn the language and do everything you had to do off the pitch to give yourself the best chance to be successful, it's like big credit to you, man.
And still didn't get it.
Yeah.
So that coach that got the sack went to Vartex Varaždin. He made me trial there. He didn't pick me. But he brought me into Dinamo Zagreb, which is the biggest club in the country. So the same bloke that brought me to the biggest club cut me in a troll in Vartes.
Crazy.
That's
And
crazy,
you're like,
man.
what are you doing? And you just 19, mates are partying, making money. Fuck,
Good on
you know
you,
what?
man.
Just give it a go. And that's where I say, you're in Australia. This is what I learned being over there, especially Macedonia. My auntie was a doctor. She was selling Kodak films. Here, you don't need education to actually have a good life. You can go work at Coles, which is a great job. You can go knock on someone's door, can I get a job? You can get it. So why not, knowing that, go and give it a fucking crack?
Try.
Because we're in a privileged country.
100%.
At the end of the day, if you're going to do it, give it a crack. Not 3 months, 6 months. Don't look at the money. The money will come and go. And now, I told you about the option of Ukraine.
Yep.
So I had no money at 24. Ukraine 3 years, highest paid in the club. Good money. Romania was less than half initially, wage-wise. I ended up making more with the bonuses.
To get a pay cut, basically.
And then
Yeah,
you,
they finished low mid-table. So that the financial decision was right after the fact. And I still got gypped 100 grand from this club as well in Romania. That was another fucking
No,
thing.
they love
I love it. You're going to sue me.
they love a short.
You know, the president sat me down. He goes, we'll sue you if you don't sign this paper. And the paper was so they can play Champions League. Because you can't have any money owing to a football player going to the
That's
Champions
right.
League.
That's right.
You know that
In
one?
Italy
You
was
can't
like
have any
that as
money
well.
owing to
So a club can't go and do qualifiers if they owe money to an
Yeah.
ex-player.
really?
Italy was like that as well. I was wondering why we always had to sign those things. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're
So
right.
my one was I didn't get paid for 5 months. So my last game for the club, before I had to take plates and screws out of my leg because I broke my leg in December, was on Stamford Bridge. They made me stay in Australia. I didn't play for 6 months. They made me stay in Romania. I was the 19th out of the 18th players. Always, every training, put me in the grandstand. Contract was up, and they didn't pay me for 5 months. They paid me when I sat down and they told me about this thing. Pretty much from here to go to that coffee shop, all 5 months were paid in my account.
Yeah.
Was it, aye?
Wow.
Just so because they had to go to
They
Champions
just
League.
didn't want to.
Ah,
No,
okay.
they just didn't want to pay me for 5 months. And I bought my first prop in Australia. I go, I'll keep this money just in case they didn't get paid. Everyone will get the envelope.
Yeah.
You get cash.
Yeah.
Envelope. I didn't have one envelope for 5 months.
Mate, those countries were mad.
Wow.
And,
Mad.
and they said, and I go, you owe me 100 grand in bonuses. And they went, prove it.
Oh,
Owner
for
was in
fuck's
jail. If not, we'll sue you. So I went, fuck.
cut your
Cardio.
losses, man. But then in that time, Mr. Bucharest, you won.
That's a mental story,
Tell a
mate.
kid that.
No, I was going to say, mate, that was my point, because nowadays, obviously, and I'll just talk about Australia, there's so many academies and so many coaching things and all that, good, bad and different, but obviously a lot of the coaching comes from trying to share your experience or your knowledge or both. Like there's a lot of kids who want to do what you've suggested, go overseas, give it a crack, but like that's a very valuable, I mean, like,
The mental strength. Everyone thinks it's all physical.
I said you can talk from a place of
touches.
experience. I mean, like I've actually went through the shit and stuck it out.
Well, this is
I
what
mean,
I
it's
tell them.
mental.
If someone was to tell me the first person I met that was a professional football player was Milan Susak.
Yep.
And he was in Serbia. And that's because my mate knew him because they used to party here together. He knew his barber. So if he was to tell me anything more, they were hungover when I met him. So he couldn't really tell me what it is to experience. And I was 18 at the time. But if I had a professional that can tell me, or someone that's been there, they can kind of prepare me a bit.
Yeah.
It wouldn't turn me off, because if that's going to turn me off, then I'm not really in love with the game
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
am I?
yeah.
What's going to turn me off? Are they going to do this to you? I used to hide my boots in the snow. In Croatians, they didn't want. They hide my boots in the snow. The coach goes, "Go get him," because I was walking in the snow with no boots on. Because he's fucking dumb Australian. But those things there, if I was mentally strong, oh mum, I want to come back.
Yeah, I'm gone.
Mum used to call me. She goes, "You're not going to call me." I go, "Mum, I'm training twice a day. Got no time. Got no credit on my phone. And I'm stealing Wi-Fi from the neighbour upstairs."
Mate, I know, brilliant, but
And
man,
that's
fair
what-
play, man.
And I was not that good of a player, you would say. I wasn't part of that elite 20, 30, 40 kids.
No, but mate, you were, because
mentally
the
strong, I
game's
was.
not just technical, but it's physical,
This
it's
is what I
psychological,
say.
and you've
It's
got a
mental.
huge chunk. A lot of those players are, like Zeljko said,
100%.
they're technical, they're tactical, but psychologically they're fucked.
Yeah.
You've got a massive, to me, that's worth its weight in gold. I mean, you've obviously got that
The
resiliency.
mental strength is more important than the physicality
100%.
and the football, because
Especially
any
this
good
day and age.
this day and age, everyone can run.
Aye.
You can run. They will overseas. They'll look at you. This kid doesn't give up. We can teach them that. When I went to Croatia, they looked there and they go, Australian football, no idea. But he doesn't give up,
Aye.
and that's what kept me there.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what we can teach, the technical part.
So
that mentality is different level. I don't know where I got it from, but you know what?
Fucking brilliant, mate. Aye, amazing.
looking at your time, so instead of Bucharest, 2 league titles?
Yes, we won it 2 years in a row. They didn't win it for 8 years though.
Yeah,
So
class.
we got it 2 years
Brilliant.
in a row.
And a cup.
Was it?
Yeah, well, according to
Super Cup, I think it was.
Yes, there was
Yes.
a
Oh, that was
domestic
good
cup as
party
well.
After that, 12 days in pre-season and go straight to the cup. Oh.
Met the Milan boys, didn't you?
Not at that level, brother.
Maldo the boys.
Where I was to that level, we're still knocking on the door. They're going in the back. Don't worry.
You're the queue,
But
the
in
VIP
Romania-
button pass.
But to be fair, in Romania, they treated
a big
us like
club, mate.
superstars.
Ah,
huge club.
We used to have
Massive.
paparazzi follow us everywhere.
Yeah,
Which,
I
as
bet.
funny as that
Huge.
sounds,
Huge club.
they used to follow us to home. So
Yeah.
my first experience, I had a Sprite on the table. The next day, new player drinking Sprite.
Drink his
General manager comes, he goes, mate, you got to watch out. I go, for what? And he goes, you had a Sprite. I go, yeah. He goes, drink water. Owner doesn't like it. The paparazzi were just looking at
Fucking
ways
hell,
to
man.
fuck
No, man, mad.
Dude,
That's
mad. And I didn't give a shit. So there were a lot of stories, but he always had that money in the glove box to pay him off.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Once I started making
I was
money.
going to say, where from? Where's that from?
when you were 25.
Hey, my club was an army club, yeah? The rivalry was the police club. The police knew who I were. So every time they'll come, knock on the window, I'll just go, shut up, close the window, and you go.
Oh, okay, well.
But, you know, we said about Milano, we were an army club, so our fields were in the army base. We had soldiers at the front to open the gates with the dogs and the machine guns.
Fucking hell.
And you're like, and then the dogs run around, mate, you don't want to look at this dog. Army base, man. So it wasn't because it was
100%, man.
Milan, it was because it was an army base. But, mate, it was different. It was at top, like I could get to experience him being at Milan, but I was in the Eastern Bloc.
Yeah, okay.
And, mate, we killed it. We killed the football.
What an
part of
experience
it.
that is. That's wild.
Lucky.
So you were
Ah,
there.
very
All
okay.
lucky.
Alright.
2 years
hard
there?
luck, mate.
Nah,
it's 2 years.
I wouldn't say it.
You know why lucky? Lucky that I kept messaging that guy on Facebook.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's why I say luck. Yeah, you always be nice to people, but they could have
100%.
picked somebody else.
100%.
Yep.
And that's where you say, but if you persist, you make your own luck.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. If you put enough in, you'll get something out. It'll come
Yeah.
back.
100%.
2 years there,
2 years there, yes.
and then came back to Australia.
I pretty much blocked out all of the Eastern Bloc. I didn't want to go in the Eastern Bloc. I said, mate, I was 2 years in UEFA for Croatia. I didn't get paid for 5 months. I go, mate, anything from this side, no chance.
Done, yeah.
So I concentrated on Germany and Belgium. But again, like football, I had some random agents from Serbia, Balkans, rip me, sign authorizations, fuck me in one club, fuck me in another club. Mainz was a very interesting one. Like I was right like just before, but they ended up signing, the Brazilian World Cup was on 2014. They signed the Chilean fullback.
Oh,
So
fuck.
that kind of,
Screwed
that
you.
was done, but that was like at the end of the World Cup. I barred Russia, barred everyone, didn't want Eastern Bloc whatsoever. 8 years took its toll.
Yeah,
So,
of
mate, I'm
course.
26. What the hell? This is like, let's move on to the next project. And then Muskie called and there you go.
Yeah, that's back to Jets.
That was victory, 3 years. And then Jets. And
Yes,
then Wanderers.
2014 victory. You won the double in 2014-15.
Well, and the Cup as well.
Oh, there you go. All three.
So that was the Cup's like the next year. So it was
Yeah,
FA
okay.
Cup. Yeah, 1 and 3.
That's, I mean, like you have people on and you talk about winning things isn't easy, but between you have the fucking good go at it. Do you know what I
Winning
mean?
things is very hard.
Yeah, it's not
Very,
easy, man.
very
I think when
hard.
you're a kid, you
We
think
would've-
you're going to win. Like
I
you
know
just
some elite players that have played at very high levels that have never won anything.
don't win anything,
Look
man.
at Harry Kane.
hard,
Oh,
man.
Harry Kane might win the Bundesliga this year, but
Hopefully,
One
it
this year.
doesn't stuff that up. But I remember we went to Vegas when we won victory. We actually
class.
went to Vegas with the team. And my old coach, the guy that was in Star Bucharest, he went to Al Hilal, which lost to Wanderers in the final. Anyway, he was at Vegas. His wife, who was an agent, messaged me. I go, I'm here, blah, blah, blah. And he brought all the boys over for a barbecue. He lived in the compound where fucking Mayweather and all that is. Loaded. Anyway, and we go there and he goes, guys, it is an honor to have the best team in Australia. Like there was Nathan Cole, there's a few boys in the boot and all that. Some went home and he goes, but I'll tell you something that only that man knows, and he was pointing to me. It's hard to win it, but to win it 2 times in a row,
Yeah.
extremely hard. And when I came to victory, we won it 2 years in a row. And the second year was not as easy as the first year.
no
Yeah.
way.
Mate, that next year I think we finished 6th with victory. It was and he said that stuck to my mind. I didn't realize it. I'm like, we'll win it
So
again.
hard.
Ah, that's
It's
it.
so hard, man. So what Mariners did, very hard,
phenomenal.
man. Like, it's to be able to say that you did it, like I said, is more than any and it's
100%.
priceless.
So just quickly, you obviously went from there, 2 years at Jets, 2 years at Western Sydney Wanderers as well?
A year and a half, I would say.
Okay.
Went to Melbourne City for a cameo for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good the
overall,
first year, second year,
overall,
Out of those clubs, what was your best period? Out of those clubs you played at, what was your best period?
Victory was
Victory.
different level. I
Yeah.
think that was when I got to Australia. I think you were at Sydney FC, 2014-15.
Yeah, I would have been at Sydney FC coaching.
When we beat you in the final?
Yes.
Yes. So that was the peak of the A-League.
Yeah.
Like there's a graph and it shows that year was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Those 3 years, that team that we had, Del Pierre, Milligan, all that.
That was a good side.
side. Very strong side. And then the next year, us and Sydney FC weren't that good. And then Sydney FC with Graham Arnold went on to do that. But Victory, probably the best. Newcastle's we had a great first year with Ernie Merrick. Mate, he was the best.
Anyway.
You know Ernie, yeah? If you can believe what our tactic was all year, the red zone. I need at least 3 plays in the red zone.
What's the red zone?
Red zone's in front of the goals.
Oh, right, okay.
3 plays in that
Statistically,
box.
okay.
Someone's bound to score.
Was that just get it in there?
Fullback was me, Topple Stanley, Bogart, and Vujca. So he goes, you 3 olders, you can sort him out. I need plays in the box, that's how you're going to score. Mate, we finished second. The year before they finished dead last. That's all he said.
Get it
Pretty
on the red
much.
zone?
There was a few little tactics here or there, but that was the main. I need bodies in the box.
Football
for us to
simple.
score. Mate, and we were just on cloud 9. And we
Yeah.
lost the final because of VAR, but it was just an enjoyable year. Newey is very coastal, relaxed, kick
yeah,
back,
chill.
Yeah.
which is great. But Newey, that first year, Victory, that first year to second year was good. Wanderers, the first year was okay because we just moved to the new facility.
Yep.
But again, high expectation, the new stadium. First 7 games, unbelievable. And then after that, just kind of deteriorated. COVID hit as well.
Yeah, hard.
And yeah, just,
And then you finished it off at the mighty Inter Lions.
man, that's a funny story.
How did you end up there?
So firstly, I stopped playing football because my son was born. We're here. Then Kisnorbo kept calling me for 2 weeks. My son was born after 2 weeks. I went to City. My wife's from Melbourne, so it made sense. Then COVID hit. Beautiful. Done with football. Got an offer to play again. Mariners. Didn't want to do it anymore. I was done. I said to him, Montgomery was the coach. But mate, even if you guarantee me the title, I don't care. I'm sorry. The kid changes your life. And I was, always football, but now football is last for me. And football was a problem instead of it being my solution. Football for us, cross that picket line, the world doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's on that pitch. You're free of the world. Because the shit's outside the world. The world's hard,
Yeah,
especially
I
in
agree.
football. You're not in a normal world. But on the football field you're free.
Yeah.
You're yourself. We're kind of bipolar. I was a nutter. Off the field, didn't care. When the field became my problem of life,
Yep.
gave it up. I didn't want to do it anymore. I was 33. Didn't. And the Mariners called. I said, no, thank you. And then Channel 10 Paramount Plus took the TV rights. Started doing some gigs there, which I thought, could be something for my future. My business partner with the academy, Zeljko's with it as well now. And then I remember we're on the couch and Luke Wilkshire goes, a minute before going there, he goes, mate, do you want to play? No, I haven't touched the ball for like 10 months. Okay. No, fuck off, man. We're about to go live on there. I'm trying to think who's playing what, or you're trying to use.
trying to recruit.
And he goes, I need a ride back home. And I went, mate, leave me alone. Anyway, I go, let's speak. Anyway, I drove to Wollongong the following week, met up with the owner, beautiful bloke. We were there for like 2-3 hours. And he goes, so how much do you want? And I go, before you say that, I go, see this board? And he had the board of training and times and all that. I go, yeah, that's not happening for me. I go, if I wanted to do that, I'll be still playing professional. I go, no disrespect, Wollongong's a drive away. Too much training. I don't have time. I go, Channel 10, we just bought a place, we're renovating it. I've got a 6-month-old. My life is not that. I'm not going back into it. I don't want to be disrespectful to someone that wants to go and do it.
Yeah.
You got a young player that wants to go play Wolves. It's NPL 1. I go, it's not the money, mate. I go, I never played for money, but I'm not going to say, yes, I'm going to do it, and then I stop rocking up to these trains. I go, it's not me. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Anyway, and he goes, fair call. I go, if Luke can understand that, and Luke was there. Luke called me the next day. I go, I already know your answer. You want me to train. It ain't going to happen. Like, it's too far. My priorities are different, right? But we left it on good terms. We still did a few gigs together. Top bloke. And then out of the blue, the TD8 into Lions calls my business partner. He goes, hey, it was like it was perfect. He goes, does Daniel want to play? And he goes, I think he doesn't have boots. To be fair. And they weren't. They were packed away somewhere. God knows, mate. My last part of my Adidas contract were in somewhere in a bag. And I sit down with the TD, and the season had started. He goes, look, we just need that to get promoted. I go, where is there? There's NPL 3. I go, there's 3 leagues. This is how much knowledge I had of the game. I never knew about it. It was football. When football finished, you got a life.
Yeah.
You always have to differentiate that. And I know he can vouch for that as well. If you're stuck in that football world, here is like foreign to you. But this is reality. This is a facade. When it finishes, you got to be out of that world. You got to figure it out. So I luckily always had that, right? So it wasn't hard to transition across. And when I said, look, thank you, I go, but I've only got Saturday nights off. I can only come to the games. And he goes, that's all we need. And I went, look, if it's going to ruin the change room, because again, if they go, why is Daniel not training? He goes, yeah, but they wouldn't say that. I go, hey, it's football, yes? You can't let that happen. Like, if I'm going to ruin the change room, I'm not coming type of feel. They all embraced it. I started kicking the ball after 10 months. We got promoted. Then they asked, do you want to come again next year? I go, yep. Under the same things. When I can come and train, I can. But majority of the time, it won't happen. Yep. So, see you next Saturday. If I had a Tuesday off, I can come on Tuesday. Probably trained. I think I played more games than I trained. And that's not being disrespectful. They just respected me.
That's part of the
deal.
deal.
That's okay.
Aye.
What you're bringing is wealth of experience. And I find it funny, and I even say now, I was 36. You were with us last year. He watched some of the games. He goes, man, how come Daniel's more fitter than everyone else that fucking trains? And that was no disrespect. That was because...
Just difference in levels.
But it was true, though. It was true. I think that in the Lions last year were... They were too big. Like, let's be blunt. The players were overweight for what they were trying to do.
Yeah, because it was always
They
like...
would have never played for me, those boys. No way. Let me give you the
No
tip.
way. But he goes, we're always trying to get promoted. I go, we can't get promoted. Like, we have a good team, but we're unfit. If I'm one of the fittest, they were fit players, but I'm saying, you're training twice a week compared to someone that's of age. We've got to fix this up. Don't look about getting promoted. Look about not getting relegated. And I think that I don't get involved. I don't tell the coach. I'm not one to interject. I have no right to. I don't come to fucking train. I'm going to come and say something.
Yeah.
So I'm never like that. I'm very respectful. It's the old school. Boss is the boss.
100%.
You're the player. I'm not even the captain. Even if I was a captain, coach, what do we do? But I can't be the captain. I don't go to training. So I'm not. I understand my place, and that's how it should be in our eyes. So, you know, and then I think it was after. Then last year, I just went, mate, I want a Saturday night off. Got 2 kids now. It's fun, but mate, the pain, the back. I'll come on Monday with these boys,
3 days, mate. Like,
and I'm not recovering. I'm not training. And I say, you know what? Actually,
no worth it.
If you guys are going to change, and I think they were going to change the infrastructure. I spoke to the president. I go, look, get a young boy. You got good young boys in there. Go and do it, and that's why they're third.
Doing well. Yeah,
and well done to them. They can blame me. I go, cut the budget in half, no problem. But it wasn't that. It was more. I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
it was my choice, not because I was injured.
It's a good way to leave, though, in your terms. I mean,
well, I didn't want to go back in. When they go, you're retiring. I go, yeah, 2021. I go, it was fun. NPL was fun. It was good. You get to meet you guys, get to meet a lot of people, which is great. You're still part of it. But I used to cop some stick, man. I used to cop. You're A-League reject. That was me. Probably. No, I remember Rydalmere, the first game away. And it was a midweek game. And the boys knew, and I'm quiet. Like, I wasn't lower your level, understand your NPL. They're not, don't XYZ. You fucking A-League reject. You drop kick. And the boys were like, to some of these players, dude, he's played Champions League. What are you talking about? I go, don't worry, man. It's all right. Ball comes. He comes, boom, nutmeg. Please shut your mouth, son. Don't make me play. Let's enjoy this game. You know what I mean? And copped a bit. You get a hit a few times because you're experienced. You learn how to avoid it. But I was always looking at, I don't want someone to just come in and try to snap me. Which you know is going to happen. I used to get a few elbows here or there. You're like, mate, don't make me go hard. But me doing that and not training, I'll probably injure myself. And it wasn't that. It's not trying to prove anything to anybody. Like, I'm here trying to show my experience to some players. If they want to use it. If they don't, no worries. But it was enjoyable while it lasted. And now, last game, boots in the bin. And that was it.
Class.
Very simple. Just, it's all mental. Momentum, man.
100%.
You got to be happy with it.
One thing, we do predictions at the end of the show. Before we get to that, I read somewhere, Daniel, that you do a thing called Boots for Balkans. Do you still do that?
We opened it in 2015.
Yep.
So we just gathered boots. We had a few more bins, but because of COVID, we calmed it down. When you got all boots, kids, they've outgrown the boot. People throw them in the bin. We had clubs and whatnot. Just donate them. So we will get them, restore what we can, even like mold from our academy, old gear. We ship it over to orphanages.
Do you still do it?
Still do it.
Okay.
Not as much as we used to, but we still get a container, give it to third division in Macedonia.
Yeah.
Got the federation, my contacts to who needs these things. Because in Australia we're very privileged and entitled.
Yeah, we are.
Instead of throwing in the bin or recycling bin, let's give it to the kids.
Brilliant,
Let's give it to
brilliant, mate, well done.
even the ones playing NPL in third, fourth division. They can't afford boots. Go give it to them. So it was a good idea from my two business partners. We do it in Melbourne. We're doing it for 10 years now.
Brilliant, mate.
It's good.
Good,
It's giving back.
So how do you donate? So say about a pair of boots, how do you do it?
That's a good question. We're trying to figure that after COVID, a way. We had bins at clubs, but if we don't have anyone monitoring it, then the bins get thrown out to the rubbish truck at the side. So we're looking at other ways how to do it so it's more effective with clubs, because at the day, it's clubs and spreading the word and knowing all that. And some people just message me online, say, Daniel, I've got X amount of boots or whatever. I go, well, send it over to our factory in Melbourne and we'll go from there.
Class.
So just little something from us that's small, but it
makes
goes a long
big
way
impact.
for
100%, mate.
over there. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to go up one more question. Favourite movie of all time and what you'd eat while you're watching it? Last question.
Favourite movie? Thomas Crown Affair.
Oh, aye. Old school.
Yeah. And what would you eat when you're watching it?
What do I eat? Salt and vinegar chips.
Salt and vinegar chips, all right.
You said that as if it was obvious. I know. What else would I eat?
I'll go one better. The American Gangster,
Oh, what
Yeah.
a film, aye. Class.
salt and vinegar chips, and hazelnut Aldi chocolate.
Is that why Aldi chocolate? Good. Is it good?
So
eh?
many more hazelnuts in that chocolate. So many more. You get Cadbury, you got three little. No, there's no hazelnut in it. The green.
Okay, I want
box.
to try that out.
Mate, you got to give it a go.
I'll give it a crack.
Unbelievable.
Thanks. So, as Gary said, we go quickly. Predictions. 4 games from each league. Home, draw, away. Tell us who you think will win. There's a leaderboard. I'll just pop it up.
You're going to have to guess some of these, Daniel, I'm assuming.
So that's our leaderboard just now. A few people have got 7 so far, but no one's got better than 7 from all the games.
What are we doing?
So I'm going to read out games.
Yeah.
Alrighty,
You're gonna tell us who you think.
NPL 1,
Yeah,
NPL 2, NPL 3. 4 games from each.
Yep.
Manly
draw.
at home to Marconi.
Draw.
Draw.
Oh, aye. Draw. A tough
Marconi.
game that Friday night.
Marconi. Gary.
I'm going to go draw as well.
I'm going to go draw as well. Rockdale at home to Olympic.
Rockdale.
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 4 Rockdales. Sydney United at home to Mount Druitt.
Sydney United by panels.
United. Yeah.
United.
Sydney United.
Sutherland at home to Apia.
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 Apia. Bankstown, NPL 2 now. Bankstown City at home to Hakoah.
Bankstown.
Bankstown. Same.
Yeah, same.
I'm going to go draw.
I was thinking draw, but no, I'm not changing. No.
Hakoah 5-1 at the weekend, man. Tigers at home to Dulwich Hill.
Tigers.
Tigers.
Tigers are strong.
Tigers as well. Now, Newcastle Jets at home to SD Raiders.
They're deducted. I want to go SD Raiders.
Oh,
I'm going to go Jets.
Jets.
They won't like the trip up the new.
No
Yeah.
one
I'll
does,
go
man.
draw.
I've gone draw as well. Bonnyrigg at home to Berries.
I'll go draw.
Draw. Bonnyrigg need a result soon, man.
Berries.
Berries.
Nah, draw.
Draw. I'm going to go Bonnyrigg, man. At home, the grass is hard. Stanmore at home to Prospect, NPL 3.
Prospect.
Oh, Prospect, because that's the only from that area.
I seen Prospect was coming second. So
I don't
I
do
said-
well,
bravo.
I'll do
I'm
well.
going Stanmore, and everyone else is Prospect. No problem. South Coast Flames at home to Dunbar.
South Coast Flames.
South Coast.
South Coast Flames. I seen the table.
You'd be concentrating
I
on
was
that
looking at the
shit.
table.
I was looking beyond it. I'm like, where are those cables coming from?
I didn't know who these teams were.
Where are those cables coming from?
There you go, paying attention. I was looking at everything else, the whole facade. Who are they? Flames?
South Coast Flames.
Just tipped
South
Flames.
Coast.
Yeah, so it's like
Down south somewhere.
Down the South
Yeah.
Coast, aye. Down the
They're on
South
Flames.
Coast.
If they're on Flames, they're winning.
Sydney Uni at home to Gleesville Ride Magic.
The Glades will ride Magic.
Ride Magic.
Uni's coming last.
They've not won a game yet.
I'm going Sydney Uni.
Fuck off. They don't won a game.
I'm
going
going
Sydney.
with the crew.
And big game actually. Granville Rage at home to Bankstown United.
Granville Ridge.
Yeah, Grand
What leagues
Rage.
is?
MPL 3.
MPL
MPL 3.
three.
There's 3 leagues, mate.
Granville Rage versus who?
Bankstown United. I'm just listening to him. Flames Rage.
No, the Rage is
I
a massive guy though.
took the home team.
Took the home team, bravo.
Bravo. And I've gone draw. Guys, thank you very much. It was a
No,
pleasure.
thank you.
Thanks a lot for your
No
time, lads. I
problem.
know it was a long one. So
It
thanks
was a
very
long
much.
one.
Appreciate
It's
it.
a
I knew it was
great
gonna be long, I
50th
told you.
episode.
No, you just wound me up. I can't believe I've done
Yeah.
a podcast for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, good episode, man. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
What's that guy's name you said? The gaffer was the white.
Oh, don't you?